Hello friends and welcome to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. I am your host Smooth Operative and you are watching Time Capsule. It is the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and showcase awesome speedruns of games released in the same year. Tonight we are taking a journey to the not so distant past with speedruns of games originally released in 2019, starting with the AAA title Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and later to indie gems you may or may not have heard of, Superliminal followed by Manifold Garden. But of course, before we get into all the action, let's cover a couple of announcements. First off, prize submissions are live for Awesome Games Done Quick 2024. So if you are crafty or have a unique gaming prize that you are interested in submitting for the marathon, you can head on over to gamesdonequick.com and check out the event info tab for more information. And if you're curious about what shows and speedruns are coming up throughout the week, Hotfix fans can now access the weekly schedule straight from our website at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. And a big thank you to our management and web staff for making that happen for us. We appreciate it. All right, my friends, with all of that said, I'm ready to see every boss and mini boss get absolutely decimated in Sekiro. And here to do just that, please welcome Spacey.
Hey, I am here.
Hey. You are. What's going on, Spacey?
Not much. Just getting ready to do a run. So
Nice, yeah.
I mean,
Well, tell us about the run. What can we expect?
almost everything, which is cool.
It is all bosses and mini bosses, friends.
Yeah. So it's a really fast-paced run. It's really dense because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. But I'll be talking through it as much as I can. So let's go ahead and get started because we've got like 40 plus bosses to get through.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
So I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
I'm going to skip the initial cutscenes here, as beautiful as they are. And then first we have to get through a little tutorial section. So in this tutorial section, we don't have our sword and our grappling hook. And of course, just like in real life, if you don't have a sword, you can't actually sprint. Don't try sprinting without a sword. It's super dangerous. So when we can't sprint, our fastest form of movement is going to be jumping. We got this little section here that's teaching us about stealth. So we just got to sneak our way past these guys real quick. They suspect,
Very subtle.
Yeah, they suspect nothing. I am a rabbit. Gotta not. Okay. I was gonna say I gotta not jump so that he won't hit me, but he did hit me. Even though I wasn't jumping. So we're gonna start right back in the reservoir. And so the game didn't come out too long ago, but it is set a long time ago. So we're also kind of taking a time capsule back to 1500s Japan. So that is cool.
That is true. Yeah, that's very cool.
I'll try to keep the nerdy history stuff to a minimum, though.
Hey, by all means, if you know, you know.
Definitely gonna focus, make sure I don't get hit here. This does happen sometimes. And now we're gonna go talk to Kuro. This young boy here, he's the one who has our sword, so we're gonna get this sword from a child. Very safe. Thank you, Kuro.
Kuro is very responsible.
He is wise beyond his years, for sure. And then I said we don't have our grappling hook, but that's not actually going to stop us from grappling. So you could do what's called a glitch grapple. It's one of the newer things that was found. It's useful only there, but even when you don't actually have your grappling hook, which is only in this tutorial section, you can kind of mash grapple and the climb up button at the same time. And you can grapple anyway as long as you're in a ledge hang. But ledge hanging is slow except for that one particular section where we need to go back out the window. So mostly we're not going to be doing that.
Okay.
And that was our first mini-boss. So I'm going to just briefly explain the combat mechanics for this game. So that yellow bar on the top is the posture bar. We have one as well down at the bottom, but we don't really need to worry about ours. And then he also has a health bar on the top left. To kill bosses and mini-bosses, we can either fill the yellow bar, or we can deplete the red bar, and then do a death blow. Most bosses and mini-bosses require 2 death blows to kill, but some of them only require 1. And so Oh, this is Guinea here. We'll fight him for real later. In this fight, we're just gonna let him chop our arm off so we get the grappling hook. It's funny because like some people argue that maybe we should like beat that fight rather than just like progressing it as part of the category. But there's like an
I guess it's like kind of scheduled or planned that you're not supposed to win that fight.
yeah, like you get your arm cut off even if you do win. It's like not that hard,
Right.
but so there's like plenty of arguments for why you shouldn't need to beat that fight. But the real reason we don't have the fight in the category is because Dan Flesh, the one who originally routed that, literally just didn't think about it at the time. And then that
that's
just
actually really funny.
kind of became the category. So shout outs to Dan.
I wonder like how much extra time it would take anyway.
Like
Just have my own curiosity.
around a minute-ish, I think.
Okay, that's not quite as bad as I would have thought.
Yeah, in this game's standard, that's fairly long. So a lot of mini bosses as well, we can do stealth death blows on them like that to instantly delete a health bar. So that's what we did for that mini boss there for this first phase. And then for his second phase, we were using a strat we call dead angling, which means kind of starting our attack while facing away and then swinging towards him so that we hit his health. And the reason we do that isn't actually because we want to deplete his health and not fill his posture. It's because anytime a boss parries, they take only 25% of the posture damage that they would otherwise take. So we're really just dead angling because we don't have any stronger stuff right now. So we just want to not get parried by the bosses, just because they're taking less damage on that particular hit. And then,
So if you turn, they don't quite expect it.
yeah, it has to do with their auto, like kind of their auto parry.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they either like, or they'll try to block sometimes, but they won't time it correctly. It takes quite a bit of practice, actually, in most cases. Now we're gonna do some pathing here. That's okay. This is newer. This whole early game is like relatively new, like a month or two old, and it's like a lot more annoying than what we had to do before. There are these.
Thanks to whoever made that happen for the community.
So I just have to be very careful here. It's okay though. It's a lot of resetting in PB attempts, but it's not too hard to back up for something like this. Yeah, so we picked up 3 stealth sugars, which sugars are a type of buff that we're going to be getting. Specifically, they're gotching sugars, and we used to just use a stealth sugar here, but basically one of the big things with this new route is that we don't use as many stealth sugars, so we don't have to pick up as many. So we have to do some kind of crazy movement there to not get spotted by this boss ahead of time, so that we can get the free stealth death blow.
Yeah, that was wild.
And then the other really annoying thing is we used to come back and kill this mini boss later, but we're just going to do it now with all these ads around, so fairly tricky here. It's good. I got to wait for that guy to run. And now I'm going to dead angle this guy and also kind of try to push him away because there's another gunman up there who's going to try to hit me here. So I'm kind of focusing mostly on getting him where I want him to be. My attack animation got canceled there because of some of the debris on the ground. It's a thing that can happen. That's not...
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was kind of slow, but it's not like that bad. Just trying to stay alive. And now we're going to introduce one of the most broken mechanics in this game, which is just jumping. Because you can basically do kind of like really far coyote jumps. I don't like calling them that though. Usually just call them late jumps, but because they work differently. I missed it there, but that's okay because we're going to do a bunch of them in the run. They work differently than like the way coyote frames work in most games. Oh yeah, there's a big snake, by the way. We don't really care about him. They work different than the way coyote frames usually work. Like pretty much all From games, the second your foot leaves the ground, you can no longer jump. But this game has a bunch of like invisible walls essentially all around all the cliffs and everything that are just meant to make it easier to like sneak around without accidentally walking off all these narrow branches and stuff. So what we can do though is if we manage to initiate a jump right as we pass through one of those invisible walls, because you can sprint through them but you can't like walk through them, then we can initiate a jump and Sekiro will continue the running jump animation like long past where the actual edge of the map is here. And we're going to do one again here. This one's much easier. So some places have those walls, other places don't. And so like exactly how difficult or easy specific jumps are varies weirdly by collision, like by the specific collision you're jumping off of. So this is an easier one. That one is a very, very hard one at first. Like, see that? This isn't a bad one.
Oh yeah, it's like you kind of get that extra distance to be able to make some of these.
Yeah, so that was a boss back there. Don't worry, we're taking care of him. I'm gonna deliberately, I love how the boss music just cuts out when you do this strat.
They really, really were hoping you'd be there.
Oh, there he goes. Bye, Gyobu. So essentially the same kind of invisible walls that keep you from going off the edge accidentally will also keep them from going off the edge accidentally. But if you're out of their arena, they will try to path to you, and when they're trying to path to you, they can actually go off the edge. So we've still got a dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've still got a dog on us. We do need that dog to be aggro. Go fight Bull here. 2, 3, 4, and 5 stagger. 3, 4 dodge. 1, 2. The Bull takes more damage when you hit him in the head. I need him to die over here. As do a lot of actual, like, kind of beast sort of enemies in this game, which is relevant later. So usually people, when they fight this boss casually, they'll just, like, hug the hindquarters and just whack away, which isn't a bad strategy casually, but it takes way too long, so we fight up front instead. The problem is that his head does fire damage, and essentially the block in this kind of works like a Dark Souls block, where your sword just has 100% fizz block, but elemental damage will go through. Yeah, so we're back here now.
Oh.
So even if I parry, I take fire damage there, and we have very little health, so I have to manage my health, but it's a lot faster that way. Yeah, so we did an aggro chain and then into a quit out warp there, basically. So in the other Souls games, or the other From games, because this isn't technically a Souls game, but I use the terms interchangeably sometimes. If you, like, you can just, like, run past enemies and then quit out, and then the enemies will be despawned, and you'll be back where, you'll be right wherever you were. And apparently they got tired of us doing that. So in this game, they made it so that if you have aggro, then the game will stop saving your, like, position on the ground, your grounded position, as we call it.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
So we can actually deliberately abuse that they put in here to inconvenience us and do aggro chains into quit out warps like that. So we can
That's too
deliberately
funny.
keep aggro that whole time. And then we didn't even grab this idol here, but if you kill Bull, you automatically get this idol. So we can quit out warp all the way back there, and then we can warp to last rested to get back here. So that's pretty neat. That's like, that routing is like 8 months old or something, like that entire.
Still pretty fresh, I would say.
Yeah, this game, like, especially in the last year, has had like a crazy amount of like just new stuff, like, constantly.
Do you think that when the speedrun was still new, like, everyone went really hard on it and then kind of maybe experienced some burnout, and maybe now is the time to kind of get back into it and find some new stuff?
It's come in waves, definitely. There was like a lull when Elden Ring came out. There was like a lull maybe like a year and a half after. But this game has stayed pretty healthy, I think. Like,
Nice.
a lot of From games do. The community around them is like really, really strong, which is very
Lots of fans, for sure.
really dedicated fans as well. So yeah, we just killed the Lone Shadow there. We just dead angled him into the corner. That went fine. And now we've got to throw ourselves into this hole here. A lot of people don't end up going this way immediately casually. So you told me before when we were in the green room, like, how far you got when you played this game. Well,
Yeah.
that's about 10 minutes into the run. But it doesn't have to be, like, you can do a lot of other stuff before you come here, but just so happens because of the way the run is routed that's like 10 minutes into the run and we're almost there.
That's too funny. That's too funny.
But I didn't have the heart to tell you that until we were in front of all these people.
I know. I approached Spacey for this run, you know, and I have played Sekiro, but I got very lost at a certain point and did not continue. So Some of this will be new experience for me as well.
So I just did a camera manipulation trick there. That gunman up there. So if I don't look at him like right when his bar turns yellow, but before it turns red, then he'll actually spot me sooner because he'll just stay there like standing. Like he'll stand there and stare in my direction. But if I look at him, he'll actually do his look around searching animation, which will actually cause him to turn his head away from me and spot me later. Because like in a lot of games, enemies that aren't on screen, they don't necessarily execute all their animations just to save on processing power, essentially.
Interesting.
So that's like actually a big thing in the game, especially like as an advanced thing. When you're trying to route running through a lot of areas, is you really have to... I missed the late jump there, that's why that happened. You really have to think about, like in terms of your consistency, not just your movement, but like where your camera is looking and when exactly you first look at certain enemies. Chicken got in my way there, it's okay. Yeah, so...
Yeah, someone was asking in the chat what you were doing when you reach across the controller, so we assumed perhaps it was to do with the camera.
Oh yeah, that's just my weird... That's my weird pseudo claw. I don't actually do claw grip, but you have to do something like claw grip in this game and in like DS3, which was my first speed game. So...
Oh, interesting that it was your first.
Yeah. So I never learned a proper claw grip. This is where you have to go, by the way. You're not supposed to parkour like that. You're supposed to take a side path to the left, but we're gonna parkour. And then you just beat this guy, and then the fog goes away. He's supposed to be easy. It's just supposed to be hard to get to him. Well, actually, I'll point out the path you're supposed to go at the end of the game, because there's a mini boss back there, but we do that in late game cleanup. Then you...
I love how you call it cleanup. Like, we just got to get rid of these, put them out.
Well, that's actually, this is an interesting time to talk about that. So, the way the kind of like levels in this game work is that most mini bosses and stuff will give you beads, which lets you level your health up. It also levels your max posture. They're very good casually. I recommend getting them. Like, this game, despite having like a very steep learning curve, is actually balanced to be pretty forgiving relative to other From games. But yeah, we don't need those in the run. We're not going to use them at all. We're not going to level our health up at all. Even in a marathon run like this, I'm not going to level up health at all. I don't really think there's much point. There's like one or two places where maybe it would help, honestly. But for the most part, if you're dead, you're dead. And we're not going to upgrade our heals at all because upgrading our heals is very, very slow. We're not even going to have our gourd that heals us on our hotbar like the entire run. It's just irrelevant. But then, whoops, full-on bosses give you memories, which increase your attack power. So the way that a lot of this is kind of routed is that we're going to try to go kill a bunch of like main bosses and the mini bosses we have to along the way, and then go back and kill a bunch of mini bosses. So I'm going to enter the arena from the side here to do a cheese. Sneak up on Monk here. I have extra ashes here. We normally have to do this in 4, which makes it a fair bit tighter. But I grabbed some extras because this fight is like, I could do this fight without the cheese, but it's really slow with this attack power. It adds like 2 minutes. It's really slow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we entered the arena from the side there, so she didn't see us. And this boss, despite only having 1 health bar, that was a menuing mistake. Despite only having 1 health bar, she is actually vulnerable to stealth death blows from above specifically. Because we're going to fight her again, or another form of her, that has an intended phase 2 skip specifically. And so because of that, all versions of her are actually vulnerable to death blows. And then this is annoying. In the run for like in-game time, I would just like warp to last rested here for this. But it doesn't end up faster RTA. There's just no fast way to do this RTA, unfortunately. We have to run in, grab that, and run all the way back out.
So that's what it's timed by on the leaderboards, I'm guessing.
It's technically It's technically a modified IGT.
Okay.
That eliminates not just normal loads, but also black screen loads, just for maximum fairness and stuff. But obviously,
right, sure,
it does affect like how some stuff works. So now we've got to go up to Genny here. This is a fight you may have done before heading down there. Whoops. We're just gonna die.
The rooftops are dangerous.
Yeah, this skip is really dangerous. I can also fall into the void here if I'm not careful. And falling into the void is the worst way to die. Because there's...
I guess that answers my question of if you use the void to your advantage ever.
Yeah. No, because yeah, it takes... I actually need to heal. So it takes, like... There's no kill planes down there. So eventually the game will kill you just because you're in the falling animation too long, but it takes like 45 seconds. It's really slow. So now we're going to do kind of a corner cheese for the first 2 phases of this boss. Might have been a little late. That's good. Yep, so I just have to swing my 5th hit here to hit him, but not so close that I end up letting him parry me. Dodge if he does this. Takes some practice, it's not too difficult. And then in second phase, he's going to warp himself out of the corner regardless, so we just fight second phase normally. 5. And then we'll have a little bit of a break to talk as we go through some dialogue. So the buff I'm using right now is a confetti buff. It increases the damage I do to a boss's health only. And then is also necessary for some undead kind of bosses. So I'm going to Yasha, immediately flip myself around, which shifts my hurt box, makes him miss. We want double lightning here, but we're not going to get double lightning because he did the wrong lightning to start. I don't have Makiri, so I have to dodge or parry that. Oh, that's really annoying.
Gosh. Some of these bosses, though, I mean, you said that these other phases you kind of have to do normally, and, you know, Sekiro, it's still a hard game, so, you know, you're good. You're still doing great.
Okay, so we're gonna go up this way instead. I didn't think about that. I don't normally die on my way up like that, and so I didn't have a free revive there in case something like that happens. So I have to.
Right, I gotcha.
So this is the way to go up there without swimming. You can just wall kick off of some collision there and like do like a backwards wall kick. Okay, so I kind of have.
It's cool to be able to. Oh, sorry.
No,
yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud. Go ahead.
I was saying it is cool we got to see both ways though, because I find both interesting getting up here.
Yeah, so I can buy extra confetti later, or I can skip it on Owl. And then the Yasha, I can get an extra later too. I may have to skip one in early game somewhere. I'll just have to think about it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, it's really, the resources are kind of brutal in like all of these games. But anyway, what happened the first time was that I dodged the wrong time, so he still reacted as though I had parried, or like otherwise been in front of his jump attack. And then he did the one of his 3 possible options after that that will cause me to just die if that happens, basically.
Bad RNG.
Well, like most things in this game, it's like I screwed up and then got punished especially hard because of RNG. So
Fair.
you always got to look at what you can do when you're actually trying to improve. But we did that. That's fine. Annoying that we had to run all the way back up, but it's a cool fight.
Yeah, it is a cool fight.
And so now we've just I can finish explaining our damage buffs. So yeah, so we use a confetti there because we're dead angling him, so we're just draining his health, so that extra 20% damage is nice. And then there's going to be other fights where it doesn't help us because it only does damage to their health, and a lot of bosses we're going to be killing with posture instead. And then, so for most fights, we're going to be using sugars instead. So you can only have 1 sugar buff active at a time, which comes up later. But we've got the light red Akos here that give us a 12.5% damage boost with no downside. And then we have the dark red Yasha sugars, which give us a 25% damage boost at the cost of half of our maximum HP. And so most of this run, like I said, well, yeah, we're not going to upgrade our health at all. And then we're mostly going to be doing late game stuff with our base health cut in half as well. So
Ah, the red sugars then.
yeah, that's mostly what we're going to be using. So it's very easy to die. And so I'll mention now as well that the astute among you may have noticed that we're going through the dialogue a little bit faster than you should be able to casually. That's because we're playing with subtitles off for some reason. If you have subtitles off, when you hit the start button, which normally would just back you out of dialogue without advancing it, it instead closes the dialogue but counts it as read. And so that ends up saving about a minute in the longer categories. It's a really nice bit of time save. So there's just like a little bit of routing because it's just gonna, like, basically I can start cancel each specific section of dialogue, but there are times when I have to mash through. So like keeping track of where you are in the dialogue trees takes a little bit of practice, and then like knowing when you want to mash through and when you want to start cancel like takes a little bit of experience, but it's not terribly difficult.
So if you do kind of mess up, it's just, you know, you're advancing in the dialogue slower, but you're still going through it.
Yeah, there are some specific places where you'll get stuck if you just try to mash start every time.
Oh, okay.
Like you have to mash through to advance. But mostly you can kind of clumsily figure your way through it. You're not gonna like kill the run accidentally. So now
I was gonna ask. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if there was a kind of guide for maybe new players that want to learn this run. Is it approachable?
Probably not. This category is really hard to get into. Like you can, and if this is the category you want to run, just work on doing it slowly. Personally, I started when this game came out, before this was a category. I basically progressively ran longer and longer categories, and that's kind of how I went through this game. But definitely, if this is the category that interests you, like watch runs, take your time, you know. Like
For sure.
You definitely can, but it's so much. It's so much to keep track of it first.
Thank you for your insight, though, on the subject.
Yeah. There are like shorter most bosses categories, like there's all memories you can do. There's also all beads, but all beads, which is technically all beads and memories, is like honestly also so long. It's not that much easier to learn from a learning perspective. So like you could start with all memories though. I think that one's more approachable. That would probably be my advice, and then learn the mini boss fights after. Oh yeah, so we're air swimming.
So yeah, I was gonna say, so what's happening here for our viewers that maybe just tuned in?
Yeah, so we have air swim in this game. It works the way that air swim works in a lot of games, where rather than coding actual like physical volumes of water, the devs just have a series of planes above the water that toggle you in and out of swim. So if we go down through one of those planes out of bounds, then we can swim out of the like enclosed area that's supposed to keep us in the water without toggling ourselves out of swim state. And then we can pretty much go wherever we want with some work. There's some caveats there. We're just doing an aggro chain here because this boss is kind of out of the way. So the caveats are, one, you can't death blow bosses that aren't meant to be hit with a death blow underwater. Like they don't have an animation for it.
Oh.
So we need a way to get ourselves out of air swim, which we can do here which we did by surfacing, or we can do it the way we did on Genny, where there's a cutscene that pulls us out of it. But if there's not a cutscene, we can't or water nearby, we can't pull ourselves out of it. So you can't just go kill a bunch of bosses. Like just in air swim, you need to get out of air swim. And then the other thing is that certain areas, like basically, the game keeps track of where you toggled your swim state. And if you go into or kind of load an area different from where you got your swim state, like people on these shows always talk about the game gets confused. Well, not this game. This game gets angry. The game gets mad, and it just kills you straight dead.
Oh
no
my
revives
gosh.
if you're try to load an area like that.
No mercy, seems.
So there's some very specific routing that goes into any kind of longer swim, where you have to tell the game that you're in a different area, basically. Okay, get him later.
Now, one of our viewers has asked what happens if you save quit in the middle of a boss fight. I'm gonna guess reset? I don't know.
Yeah, you load back outside of it. And the boss gets all their
Okay,
health
fair.
back, but all your resources are gone.
So not a good strategy there.
No, yeah. Okay, we just gotta kill the orange monkey. He's back over there. The orange monkey is the dumbest monkey, so... Should be over here. Can you de-aggro, sir? Okay.
Oh, wow. Just gone.
Where did he jump to? It's fine. There's like a couple different ways I can chase him. I don't know. This isn't one I normally mess up in runs. So...
This is giving me like Spyro hunting the egg stealer vibes.
Yeah, we're basically doing this casually now. I think if I can get him to jump down there. This is usually how you would get the purple monkey if you messed it up. I could restart it, but then I'd have to get an extra sugar. Now if he's up here, I should be able to push him. Where did he go?
Oh my goodness. Nah. That's what he's saying.
He didn't jump off, that's what happens. He got wise. Okay, come on, I need you to jump off. And then I need to push him, like, kind of up, ideally.
Now, Spacey warned us that the game would be angry, so...
Okay. No, don't get that way. I don't know his pathing as well. Does he always go up to the top? I guess he does. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do the other thing. I'm gonna do this. This is an item, like, that's a mechanic that's specific to this. I have to use an extra sugar here. So, like, he should lose me eventually now that I'm invisible.
So we should be able to approach him now.
Yeah. I should have just done that sooner, but that's how you back, like, if you really have to. That's okay.
What a bratty monkey.
That's not normally the one you would miss, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
So we're down one Gotchian, we're down one Yasha, we're down one confetti. We have to use confetti for this fight. So this fight coming up. So we are once again going to get a sword from a child. This sword is way stronger though. So this must be a stronger child, I can only imagine. But we'll talk about that after this next fight that we do. I also have to get extra money. Which we can do right here, actually. We are down some emblems as well.
So you're going to have to make a few adjustments, I guess, on the fly during this run.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, a lot of the stuff that we need extras of can be bought with money, and there's, like, actually a lot of money just, like, lying around. Like, here's 1,000 right here. You
Easy.
just have to know where it is. So this is our first of these, this is a Shichiman. This is our first, like, kind of undead guys. So we really, really need... Okay. This one's good. We really, really need confetti for this, or we will do, like, chip damage. So these guys, their gimmick is that they teleport and try to engage you at range. So we're going to do some specific positioning to manipulate where he spawns. And then we just have to circle around him without getting hit by that attack. So it's very important that I stay behind him there. Okay, and then we're immediately going to use this money pouch here to buy emblems.
So if you stand in a particular spot, like, will the enemy always, like, spawn where you want? Or is it, like, a couple of locations that they could spawn?
So they have specific set spawns that they can choose and then they will choose that based on which one they think is the farthest from you at the time when they pick their
Right.
spawn. So I can go there so that he thinks that that is the farthest spawn for me, essentially. And then I can start running back towards him before he's physically spawned, but after he's picked his spawn to kind of juke him there. That's how that works.
Cool. That is a cool thing to know.
So this is the sword we got from the kid. The second kid. It's really strong. It's a combat art. Part of the reason it's so strong, this one specifically, is that for some reason this combat art, and it's not true for most combat arts, but it does extra damage. It does extra damage if you jump before using it, the first hit of the combo. Very strange. They never patched it out. They've even buffed this weapon since release. So, like on old this patch, this is weaker. So it seems like they wanted it to be really strong, but it's really strong. And then we did a stealth death blow from above to cancel fall damage. Then we quit out warp to get back up to the top here.
So will this be the primary weapon for the rest of the run?
Well, so we still only have our one sword, but we have like our main sword, and then this is like a special attack that we have. But yeah.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, this will be like one of 2 combat arts we'll use through the whole run. And we're mostly going to be spamming Mortal Draw, technically, is what the move is called. The sword in English is translated as the Mortal Blade, or Ushigiri in Japanese. But
right, I kind of forgot that you could customize your, I guess, play experience a little bit in this game. It's been a while for me too.
yeah, you've got different prosthetics you can equip, which we're going to be using only 2. But they're all they all kind of have their niche uses. They don't really switch up your combat style as much as some people thought, like pre-release. They're more of like tools with specific purposes. And then your combat arts are special attacks you can equip one at a time, but mostly Mortal Draw is just broken. Most of the other ones aren't as good.
Okay.
But they do take spirit emblems to use, and so that's why I had to buy a bunch there to make sure I had extra. Because normally the spirit emblem routing in this particular route is pretty tight. I had like already lost more than I could afford to. So normally I wouldn't like literally be keeping count of how many spirit emblems I have in reserve, but I would be keeping a count like, am I plus or minus this many relative to average, because there's some RNG in the drops you can get. And then also some fights can take more or less depending on how well you hit your Mortal Blades. We'll talk about that like 2 fights from now.
Sure.
So we gotta navigate Gunfort here, that's why I grabbed that. There, we gotta kill another Snake Eyes. I'm gonna buffer a crouch as soon as I land there. I'm gonna run up so I can get a stealth death blow here. She's distracted by the gunshot. I got a space very specifically here so that I can jump. She'll miss like that and do it again. It's okay. Okay, I need to heal here. It's actually not quite enough health back. It's fine. So we're gonna try this. We're gonna do the safe way here. Oh, this is where I can get extra gotchas as well. So we're gonna take bottom route. Normally you would take top route like in actual runs. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm just gonna have to rest. So top route is about 5 seconds faster, but there's a chance you get shot as you're jumping. Basically, top route, we would just skip to that last branch that we grappled to by doing a jump like just over the cliff side. But if you get shot while you're in midair, you lose all your momentum, and you can just fall into the pit and die. And you can't revive if you fall into a pit like that. Okay, they didn't follow very well, so we got the rest out. That's good. Now we got to kill this giraffe here. Game says it's a giraffe. It's a giraffe.
Centipede giraffe. Okay. I don't know that I would have called it that.
Yeah,
but
it's
sure.
clearly a translation error, but it's pretty cool. Okay. That was an input error on my part. It's fine. We're basically just casualing this now, because I didn't position quite correctly on the first jump. Okay. So we just basically did that fight casually, but That's fine, because we'll get to see the techniques that we were going to use on him later. And then there's some other movement here that I'm going to have to do as well, because my health is lower than it should be. So normally we just go jump right off the side here, but we lose a little bit of health if we do. So instead we can go like to the middle of the bridge where you're like supposed to get ambushed by the snake and fall off. And then that way we're just like scripted not to take fall damage if we do that. And then there's 3 extra gotcha sugars. And there's 1,000 gold right there for good measure. So
Sunken treasure?
yeah, there's actually like a lot of like 1,000 gold pickups, which is very funny because like when you play casually, you can feel like you don't have enough money sometimes, and then when you know where everything is, you're just like, oh, there's just like thousands of gold around every corner.
There's so much money in the game now, yeah, at your disposal.
So that's just playing the game a lot, knowing. So we're still down. We don't really have a chance to get another Yasha. Does the lake one spawn? Anyway, I'll think about it later. So we're gonna go up here. We gotta kill Ape here. I'm gonna grab this idol just because it's a long run back otherwise. But so this is the best kind of showcase for like the skill ceiling of using Mortal Blade. So Mortal Blade has at least 2 hitboxes. There's like a weaker hit, or there's like 2 hitboxes basically, and then so there's like a range at which you will hit both hitboxes and get more damage, and a range which you will only hit one and get a half hit. And then Ape, like I mentioned, because he's a beast boss, Ape also has extra, he like has a weak spot that's his head. He takes extra damage if you hit him in the head. So for the...
Also.
Yeah. So you want to hit both hitboxes on his head there, basically. And then same thing here. We're going to need to hit his neck hole. This is his weak point. 2. So I have to swing. I missed the first hit there, but got the second one. That was a good hit. That should kill, yeah. Yeah, so I mostly got sweet spot hits, but that wasn't like a great fight, all in all. Could have been faster, for sure. But it is very cool, like how you have to swing a very particular part of the hitbox to actually hit where you want to hit with the full damage. Mortal Blade.
Now you're making me realize, like, this game really isn't quite as linear as maybe I originally thought. Because I feel like there are areas of the game that we still haven't been to that I've seen.
Yeah, so the first section of the game is basically like a scavenger hunt.
Right,
where you have to go find 3 materials. We actually just found the last of the 3. And now we can go do the confrontation with Owl. So we need to not aggro. Okay, or we can kill him. That's fine. We need to do an aggro chain here, but he would warp us back too far. We want to first get aggroed by this guy, not him. This is the guy. That's the guy right there. Because we want to warp back by where he is after we go and take out this mini boss here. So we're gonna be fine on confetti. It's just if I need to skip a Yasha somewhere, or if I can get an extra. We're gonna double Mortal Blade, Firecracker. Yeah, so Firecracker basically is like a stun at the cost of 2 emblems. But most mini bosses and bosses, you can't like spam Firecrackers on them because they're like immune to it for a little bit after you hit them with it the first time. But there are a lot of fights where you can at least force free damage or like basically get a free turn by using 2 emblems.
Right.
But there are other cases where like you could do that, but it's like inefficient emblem wise. You want to just jump and dodge their attacks while like winding up the Mortal Blade instead. Kind of like we did with Ape.
I gotcha.
So we're using...
It is flashy though.
Yeah, it's super cool. The combat in this game looks so cool. And I think like Mortal Blade adds so much to the combat in my view. Like a lot of people like denigrate the run as like Mortal Blade spam, but like jumping over an enemy's sword swing to get like that strong like Mortal Blade hit, it's like so much fun.
Right? It's like super satisfying to see.
And then like, especially some of the later fights where it's like you're doing the fight, but then also looking for strong punish opportunities with Mortal Blade that won't get you killed immediately. Because Mortal Blade is like laggy, even though it's really strong. So we're gonna bait him into the corner. We'll be fighting this guy again later, so don't worry that we cheese him here. There we go. So getting him into the corner takes a little bit of practice, but once he's in the corner, like I'm literally just mashing R1. Which is why we just use the confetti here. So, question is, I don't know if the Yasha underwater actually spawns. Is spawned now. I kind of want to go check though.
I was gonna say, should we go check or?
Because there are a bunch of Yasha sugars that only spawn later. But there's one underwater that might already be spawned. We only need one more.
Okay, maybe a quick detour is in order.
Yeah. I can definitely improvise the next fight if we don't have one. But the next fight is the one that we need it for. I'm going to rest here, which is going to advance the game state, because we need to do that anyway. And then we can warp back here. So we got our extra gotchins. We're good there. It's down in this water here. There's a mini boss here. Cancel fall damage by grabbing a ledge, which is kind of a cool thing.
That is cool.
It's not here. Okay. No, it's fine then. No, this isn't it. This is... It is here. Okay, we're good.
Oh, the sugar, we got it.
We're all good. It's saved. Get out of the water there. Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't think anyone can see me here if I'm remembering the spawns right. I played a lot of this game, like even casually and stuff too. So...
How many hours do you think you've put in this game, just like speedrunning and all?
I know how much. It's about 5,600, a little bit more.
Okay. Wow. That's actually surprising that you know, because I feel like I ask that question sometimes and runners are just like, no clue. Too many hours is the answer.
Well, it's a Steam game.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the funny thing,
Fair.
yeah, the funny thing though is that like in DS3 was also a Steam game, but because of a weird, very specific thing with the like NPC invaders, we had to play with Steam offline. So like, yeah, for DS3, despite it also being a Steam game, I have no idea how many hours I put in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah.
Too many hackers.
Well, it's actually like there's some like AI invaders that are scripted invasions. But for some reason...
Oh, right.
Yeah, but for some reason they don't appear if you're offline on Steam. Like, not even starting the game in offline, which is what people always think we're saying, and then complain to us in the Discord. But, like...
Oh, when they're actually online.
Yeah, but, like, Steam has to be in offline mode, so it doesn't record our hours. So according to...
That's too funny.
So according to Steam, I only have 400 hours in DS3, and I ran it for 2 years. It's a little heartbreaking.
Aw.
But,
that's too funny, though.
So we're going to go... we did an eavesdrop there. This is part of one of the secret endings. The other secret ending, fortunately, doesn't have a boss that we need to fight. So we only need to do this one. You can fulfill the criteria for all of the endings and then choose at the end if you want to, but...
So how many endings are there? 4, okay.
So there's one that we skipped already that is the Shura ending that does technically have a unique boss in it, but there's not really any way to do that one and do all the other ones without like going to New Game Plus. So it's just one of those that's not in the all bosses categories. You have to run like actual any percent for that one. There is a way you can do both final bosses, but like it's really glitchy that I did on Fu's show that was really cool, but like you can't fight every boss in the game, even with glitches, sadly. Okay.
Oh,
so
geez.
Monk is down there. She's just hidden. And then I'm going to go for the swag kill here if I can for phase 2. Yep, so we're stabbing her, but she's over there because we caught her mid-teleport. Don't think it's faster, just cool. Gonna Yasha. Get a jumping Mortal Blade in. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, dodge, jumping Mortal Blade, dodge, Firecracker, jump, double Mortal Blade, fight's over. So she has, so that phase 2 skip I did is the intended phase 2 skip, and that's the reason she's vulnerable to death blows. But she's supposed to see you and then like jump in from up there as far as like the animation is concerned. But she's actually just there in the arena, but she's hidden. And so if you know where she's at, you can actually get a stealth death blow on her from above. You just have to be like weirdly precise and hit a blind target.
That's pretty cool though that you can do that at all. It's like, haha, we see you.
And then so we're supposed to have to go all the way around to the left there, because this guy is supposed to hit us. But if we swim a very specific way, we can actually avoid him there. So like just getting this at all isn't too difficult. But if you want to do it without like dying at all, you have to like, when I dove underneath that first log there, when the lightning hits that log, you need to wait like half a beat, which takes a lot of like experience to really get comfortable with, and then swim forward, and then he will miss you with his follow-up lightning shot. You can just brute force it and revive and then swim through if you miss that, but obviously that's like 10 seconds lost for no reason. So for real runs,
It's funny too. Oh yeah, it's funny too how like your patience kind of is rewarded, because I've heard speedrunners going too fast, and then it's like, well, the game's getting soft locked, so you have to kind of pace yourself in a certain way.
it's exactly that kind of thing. Yeah, and it happens a lot in these games. I'm sure it happens in other speed games too, where at first when you're really struggling to just get the inputs down, you don't know that you can go too fast. Like you think you're getting it and you're just doing it as fast as possible. And then one day you do accidentally go too fast, and that's the moment when you're like, oh, I actually have to slow down like just a hair in this specific place and get the actual tempo. So this is
Takes practice.
the main thing that shuriken are useful for. If you hit an airborne enemy, you will knock them out of the sky. And now we're gonna go kill our first headless. So this is another undead kind of enemy, or the apparitions is what the game calls them, but they're kind of like undead type that need confetti. The ones that are underwater though, you don't actually need confetti to kill. But the confetti still does do extra damage. So we're gonna just use it anyway in this case, because we will be health killing this one. And the main reason we're health killing is because one, we wouldn't have a Yasha to use here normally, but also we need to use a stealth trigger so that his twin over there doesn't shoot at us while we're fighting him. And then so there's like mechanically it makes sense that underwater ones don't require to use confetti, because there's no like use confetti underwater animation, which probably would have been awkward to code. But there's like there's like lore reasons too, because like the reason the confetti does damage to them is because it's washed in these waters, the fountainhead waters, or their runoff. So it kind of makes sense because they're already underwater, they're already vulnerable. I don't know if it's really the mechanical reason or the lore reason that actually motivated them to make that decision, but it's cool either way. And then this is is another bullfight. You can actually do this same thing with the other bull, but you have to go out of bounds to do it. It's slow. But if you firecracker bull from behind when he doesn't see you, he will immediately do his death charge, where he will charge towards a wall. And if he hits a wall, he will just go down like that. You can just finish the fight.
Oh, wow. GG on that one.
So now we got to go to double ape. So this is ape, but again. Let me think. So we're all caught up on resources now. We're good. So this is the same thing as the first ape fight, where it's all about hitting your sweet spots on your mortal draws. Yes, so we're all good on Yasha again now. Everything is right with the world. We just have to buy.
Nice.
We have to buy one more confetti, but we can do that. So now I need this sweet spot. I didn't get it, so I have to do 2 more hits here. And then I need 1 sweet spot hit here optimally. I got it. Nice. So because I have to hit something really high, and because of the way the arc of the first swing is, I need to hit with like the end of the attack, basically. And that's like the hard part with the aim, is that I have to like kind of turn to the left. There's a second ape here, by the way. Let me see if we can actually see her before she despawns. We only have to kill that one, though. Oh, she's gone already. Oh, no, oh, cool, we got the glitch, where she's just going to spawn in over and over.
Oh my
I couldn't get this
gosh.
when I was on Foo's show. I tried.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to go back to here. This is not the normal route, but we yes, we do need to do this now. We need to buy confetti. But yeah, I'm glad we got that. That's a cool little thing.
Double trouble on the apes.
Yeah, so okay, so we've got like more confetti than we could ever need. Now we're all back and well equipped and stuff. This run has definitely been a test of me thinking on my feet.
How was the de-rust for the game? Were you nervous about this run?
I mean, I've been doing attempts. I got a PB like a couple weeks ago.
Let's go. Nice.
So I've been grinding. It was just a matter of like, I always like to put in a lot of prep for marathon runs.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you being here, Spacey. And if those of you watching are enjoying the run, make sure you follow Spacey here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/SpaceyL1.
So this is more dialogue stuff that we have to do for, again, one of the secret endings. So we're quitting out like you do in other rum games just to advance time. That's gonna just keep Emma moving to where she needs to be.
Right.
And we could rest at the idle instead, but since we don't have that idle grabbed, it would only be like marginally faster RTA anyway. I'm just doing what my muscle memory tells me.
I imagine it takes over like after a while.
Yeah.
Autopilot runs. I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah, I like my biggest problem doing practice runs for this was I kept forgetting to grab safety idles. Honestly, because I would just like be talking and run right past them. Okay, so now we've got that dialogue done. Now we do this little movement here. It's slightly faster than running around. Now we'll go kill this underwater headless here. This is where we picked up the Yasha before. But we wouldn't normally grab that one. We're good. The only hit point that matters is the last one. So we took a lot of damage there because we don't have confetti on our weapon. And if you like parry the Shichimin or the headless and you don't have confetti on your weapon, you just take the damage. Because it's like elemental damage essentially, again, the way that it's coded.
Right. You said that it kind of goes through over the physical.
Yeah. But we don't need our health anyway, so it's fine. Everything's gonna kill us instantly anyway. That matters. And we're gonna hop up here. We're avoiding some dogs down there. And then I just need to range this guy properly after I backstab him with my Mortal Draw. If I'm too far, I'll get a half hit, and if I'm too close, he can kill me. That was a half hit. Should be fine. Okay. Fortunately, he did a good follow-up, so it didn't matter that I half hit. That's fine. It's a slower death animation, though. So you get different death animations depending on like how you finish off bosses. So if you like down them, like and then death blow them, you get one animation, or sometimes multiples. And then there's like ones for like if you Mikiri them and then kill, if you parry and then kill. We'll talk about Mikiri later. But those guys also have two specific ones, like that you get if you down them and then like initiate the death blow. And we'll talk about it a little more later. But sometimes it matters. Like you need to actually position very specifically to get a specific death blow. So this is our first land headless. So for land headless, we're mostly going to be trying to circle around them, but there are going to be some later where we don't actually have the chance because of the terrain we have to fight them on. Well, and because we've got a slightly better tool later. But this one, we're just going to be trying to circle around him there. Okay, so they have a grab attack there. The way that I started the loop in second phase there, they have a grab attack that has a very, let's say, gnarly animation. It's like very memorable if you've fought them before. But it'll only hit, like they try to grab you from behind, basically. And just to explain for everyone at home how that attack works, is first they initiate, like if they check and if they are facing your back, they will initiate the start of the grab. But they don't actually have a hitbox yet. There's no hitbox at all. And then they will walk towards you in that grabbing animation. And then they will do another check again once they get close enough to you. And they will decide whether they think they are still facing your back or not. if they don't think they're facing your back anymore, they will do like a whiffed grab animation like he did there. And there's no active hitbox anywhere there. So I can literally just turn around and start hitting him. But if he does...
Oh, weird.
Yeah, but if he does get close enough and decides that he is still facing your back, then you will get the perilous attack symbol or the danger symbol, as we sometimes call it. And if that symbol appears, then the grab hitbox is active. And it will kill you no matter where it grabs you. It will just flip you around and do the animation if it hits your front. It no longer differentiates at that point whether it's facing your back or not. So that's the important thing, is if there's no danger symbol, you're free to punish. If you get the danger symbol, then you have to jump away, probably. So normally can't dodge.
Is it like pretty rare, like in your experience, to get that nowadays?
They're not. You wouldn't get it on that guy normally because you have plenty of open space. We'll talk about it
That's
later.
True.
Like you can, it's very much within your control in that particular section, for the most part. But so this is the start of Dragon. This is one of my. I really like this fight in the run, even though there's some RNG. It can be kind of annoying, but there are a lot of fights in these games where they're supposed to be fights, and we kind of turn them into gimmick fights. But this is a gimmick fight that we kind of turned into a real fight in phase 2. So that's really cool. So right now we're just clearing these ads in phase 1. And now the real fight will start. So you're supposed to just kind of wait for the lightnings to spawn and dodge his attacks. Like, but we're actually going to hit him. So that's good that he did that. We're going to Yasha immediately. Hit the first lightning. I'm going to do specific movement. Try and bait a certain attack. Get the bite. Jump. Was a half hit. I think I aimed too low. Okay, so we're gonna have to do an extra phase here. Gotta bait another attack here. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, so you're not supposed to hit him like this, but you can. Which is just like a really cool thing that the fact that they put it in. You're supposed to just kind of dodge around and wait for the lightnings to spawn, like about it's like 15 to 20 seconds.
I can see why you like this fight, though. This is visually very cool.
Yeah, and I have a friend who also really loves the OST for this.
Oh, awesome.
So now we're just kind of at an auto-scroller part, though. He's just going to pick attacks at random. You can actually lose time on this, though. If he starts up a really long attack right before his timer's supposed to end, you lose time. But he'll always end and do this part eventually. So there's like lots of different ways to dodge this, but like I said, I learned this game by learning one of the shorter categories first, and in that category you don't actually have the ability to block while midair. So I'm used to running and dodging instead of like jumping and parrying.
Right.
So that's how I dodge it. And I just have to be careful about what position I'm in. Now we can finish the fight. And then also eyeballs.
Oh, hello.
Only during that specific part of the animation you can clip your camera through his head for some reason, which is cool.
Ah, gracious gift of eyes.
Grant us eyes. Grant us eyes. I am also a big Bloodborne fan.
I'm sure a lot of the viewers watching who are fans of Sekiro might be fans of Bloodborne and Souls games also. Bloodborne is one that I did finish, and I enjoyed it a lot.
All right, so we've basically put ourselves in the late game phase of the game now, but we've got a bunch of stuff to do before we go and fight the last boss. But we can actually go fight who is supposed to be the last boss already. So we're going to Harada now. This area, we've been doing some crazy damage with some crazy strats and buff stacking and stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, we're just straight up over-leveled for this part. And that's why we're going to be doing insane damage in this particular case. This is a cool little out of bounds. If you want to just like screw around with air swim like casually, I recommend learning this one because this out of bounds isn't too difficult to learn. The target you're aiming for is pretty wide and it's easy to restart, and you're not going to fall into the void if you fail it. But then also, like I said, normally the thing about air swimming is you have to be careful not to go in areas you're not supposed to, or the game will insta-kill you. But as far as air swimming is concerned, this whole area is one big area. So you can literally just swim around for days all the way into the mountains if you want, and the game won't kill you. And it's really green and pretty.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
So this is where I recommend. Oh, this might have been a place you went, actually. This is a place you could go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the tough, like, waterfall fight that I
this
had.
guy. Yeah, so again, we're just straight up over leveled to the point where optimization in that fight, like, we could backstab him, like, from stealth, but it's actually slower because if you backstab him in phase 1, he takes forever to get back up and be vulnerable. So we actually want to get a front stab for phase 1 and then finish with a backstab instead. Because obviously in phase 2, we don't care how long it takes him to get back up because he's not getting back up.
Right.
And then so this is Dad again. We're in the past now. Don't worry about it. This is a weird little skip. Like if you run up to him and then just like mash dialogue right up in his face. No respect for personal boundaries. Sekiro actually won't put his sword away, which he's supposed to, and that saves us the time both to put the sword away and to take it back out after the dialogue is finished. Weird little thing. Now we're running up to our first of many Drunkard fights. Now, a lot of people really don't like Drunkard. Struggled with this fight and all the Drunkard iterations. But I'm going to tell you, Drunkard is probably the best designed mini-boss in the game. He's like the closest to being at full boss level in terms of like moveset and complexity. But I think From knew that they put more work into him because they spammed him like 4 times for no reason throughout the game. And it doesn't make any sense. But he is a good boss, I promise. So this is one thing a lot of people don't know casually, but like with a Gotchin, you can sneak up behind him. And then we can only have one sugar active at a time. However, if we Gotchin, the stealth sugar, sneak up behind him, and then Yasha, and then backstab him real quick, he doesn't have time. I had the wrong firecracker. I had the wrong prosthetic equipped. Had to save it real quick. He doesn't actually have time to notice you're there before you can backstab him. So that's how we get around only being able to have one active sugar at a time.
Oh, okay.
I should grab this. Shouldn't die here, but this fight can, like, it's a really long run back if you do. Unfortunately, though, this guy is going to block my path because I can't do my normal movement because I had to grab the idol. But it's not a big deal. Yeah, so again, I will reiterate, we are omega over leveled, but one thing we haven't leveled again is our health, if you look it down at the left, and we are going to be using a Yasha for this fight, so she's going to destroy us if she hits us, so it's mutual. That's a good opener. You can deal with every opener she gives you, but that's a nice one, fast one. And then I have to get very specific timing on this attack, so I'm gonna focus a little bit. Too late. It's fine. Back up. I need to hit her up there. There we go. Please don't bother me. Thank you. Okay, saved it. So I want to hit her like as she's landing. This is also a relatively like a somewhat newer strat. I'm definitely like getting it consistent, like especially under pressure. Sometimes I still mess it up. But you need to hit her at a fairly specific time, like as she's landing, so that she still has hyper armor. So you get the full damage on the Mortal Blade, but she doesn't stagger, which lets you get another full damage Mortal Blade in, and then you can kill with the third.
Oh, okay. That's a good strat.
Yeah, it's just you just have to get the timing and the positioning on it right. But I was a little off there, a little too late. That's okay. It's worse if you're early because then you just whiff.
That's no fun.
Yeah, you at least get some damage, you know. Now we just grab our skills here. All right, and then we're going to go back. So we are going to kind of go to the final boss. We're going to kill another really late game boss. We're going to kill Demon of Hatred via a cheese here. This is not the easiest way to do this cheese by a long shot. Definitely check out some older runs if you like are interested in cheesing this boss casually, because this way is not not the casual friendly strat. So we're gonna go through that same collision hole here that we used to get to Genny, which means we're risking falling into the abyss here. Land on this little tiny sliver of water here that just barely sticks out. 1, 2 and 3. Turn to the right to load this in without killing ourselves. Go down nice and deep because there's invisible collision up there, and if we hit it, we'll die. Load in, so now the game is going to think we're in this boss arena, which means we can touch collision and load stuff in without it killing us. Taking steps to appease the game, as it were.
You have to, right?
The game, I don't know. People are impressed with speedrunners and stuff, but the game wins far more often than we do, ultimately. Important to remember that. So I'm going to save my position here. That hits this trigger to start the fight. Hope I didn't go in too far there, but it's fine if I did. So I loaded in the fight, and then I'm going to go in and start the fight and then quit back out, because there are ads that spawn in this fight, but they're only supposed to spawn the first time you enter the fight. So if we quit out and warp back out here, well, there's your answer, by the way, what happens if you quit out in a boss fight. So,
right.
So it's the same as re-entering the fight, so the ads are gone, and that means he will follow us. So I need to swim through here. I need to hit an invisible water plane here without hitting the collision that will kill me. There we go. And then we swim all the way over here. So we're going to tell the game that we're in Reservoir now. And he's following us along where there is no collision. I don't know why that works. But he just, like, when his arena deloads, he falls through and then can just run along the bottom of the map for some reason.
Wow, that's kind of interesting.
But once
that you can even do that.
But once he gets far enough from it, he will still, like, just die, deload and die.
Oh,
so he's dead now. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's fine. I moved my camera while I was loading in there, accidentally. I need to avoid an invisible death plane there as well. So I had to be careful when I'm positioning. And now, so we're going to start the last boss. And this fight is also a lot harder than it was in old routes because we haven't had a chance to use all of our attack powers. But I love this fight, so it's fine. So we're going to Yasha immediately. Double Mortal Blade as he charges up his Mortal Blade. That was a mistake on my part. It's fine. I should have let him do the long combo the first time. It's fine. Gonna run up R1 immediately. Just kind of playing the fight as he does it. This attack. It's fine, but it's slow. Not a big deal. Okay, now he's gonna go to face his, like, spear phase, basically. And Yasha, dodge the stomp. Follow. You can get double Mortal Blade in there. Ah. Yeah, that's fine. I have to kind of just do this casually now. It's gonna make phase 3 very slow. Because, yeah, I'm not going to have... So now we don't have enough... We don't have our Yasha active anymore. And we don't have enough health to tank the lightning to do a lightning reversal. So we have to casual him for the remainder. And if he does lightning like that, we have to dodge under it. We can't get the extra damage, but it's fine. That was a weird pattern. I definitely could have played it better, but it was a hard pattern.
Ooh, yeah. It's tricky, I guess.
Yeah, one death is fine, though. Whoops. Sir? It's easy to miss that execution animation. Well, because you want to get it as fast as possible, right? But if you're too early, then you look stupid. So.
No one's looking stupid here tonight. You're doing great.
We're gonna bound our swords put away, so we can't run again. You see. Now we're gonna trigger the ending. I've been doing all this talking about triggering the secret ending, and here we are at the credits, and we can't actually do the secret ending because we haven't finished it yet. So rip, we're too late with the secret ending to save Kuro. So
now we have to backtrack.
Exactly. So the way that all bosses categories work in pretty much all the From games is that you do have to trigger the credits, but you don't have to trigger the credits last. Oh, I was down an extra. I forgot to use butterflies, so I was down even more damage for that fight. That's part of the reason it was so slow too.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
Little accident. No biggie.
Oh, Ren. But yeah, so you have to trigger the credits, but you don't have to trigger the credits last. So it often works out better to trigger the credits somewhere that warps you back to like the shrine there. So you typically don't finish on that boss. And also, again, because the main bosses buff your attack power, you kind of want to do them before mini boss cleanup anyway, whenever possible.
Oh, okay.
So
That's a big reason.
And so this is Orin, Firecracker here. I jump behind her there because she has a faster wake-up animation if I kill her with that. And then I need to jump and start the Mortal Blade, but specifically not turn around until she's getting up. And then I can finish her like that. And then I need to wait just a hair before I idle out here, if I get that specific death animation. That's the other thing.
What was on top of her head?
It's a basket.
Oh, a basket.
She has a very sad backstory. We won't get into all of that.
We won't get into it. Okay.
But yeah, that's another thing about this game. There's so many like little things like that. Like, oh, if you get this death animation, then you need to wait a little bit. Otherwise, you're like down one of your abilities you need, basically. There's like tons of little stuff like that. This is another good example, like the death animations here. Like I want to specifically get the fast animation here. So depending on what he does here. Oh, I can kill with a parry here. So parry is already a fast death animation, so I don't need to do anything special there. But like optimally here, double Mortal Blade here. So that's the fast death animation that I did there. Or the fast death blow animation rather. And I did that by being slightly farther away than you would otherwise be to get the slower death animation. And that's really gonna matter in like our last Lone Shadow fight that we do. Oh, I'm gonna do the I want to do the RTA strat here if I can, because it looks really cool.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Instead of the quit out strat. So I want to kill this guy. Gonna get a backstab there, even though I didn't down him with the backstab, I can still maneuver and get the backstab. And then I used Blood Smoke ninjutsu that we got all the way back from Genny. And then I'm gonna kill this guy with 3 shurikens there. And then I can just basically fight. Sir, can you do something? So again, I'm just like doing the fight and then looking for opportunities to punish with Mortal Blade. Yeah, so normally, like these days in the run, you don't actually use Blood Smoke ninjutsu anymore or any ninjutsu. It's like really, like you just do a quit out instead to like reset aggro after you kill some of the ads, basically.
So that one was just for show?
I think that's the pattern they still use in Glitchless. I haven't looked in a while. Because Glitchless doesn't allow quit outs, weirdly, but that's a whole thing. But yeah, you wouldn't do it anymore in this one because it's slower and the emblem economy is not in your favor anymore. So this is Owl 2. I love this fight. We're basically going to be trying to get dead angles whenever possible. Because we don't want him to parry our Mortal Blade there. That's why I'm like turning and positioning this way. And then if I parry his dive there, I always get an attack that I can jump and punish with Mortal Blade somehow. He has like 2 separate attacks he can do out of that, and they're both punishable. Which is really cool, because like parrying him as he comes down from the Phantom is like really sick.
Yeah, I like this boss, very cool.
Yeah, it's really fast, but it is very cool. And then normally here also, in game time, we would quit out to skip his dialogue, but obviously RTA, just wait. Just wait a little bit. And now we're...
meditate a while.
Yeah. So we've basically just got like a little bit of cleanup left to do. We are very nearly done. We've killed all the main bosses in the game. We just have some mini boss cleanup. And we're gonna...
Nice, yeah.
We're gonna do a cool little skip here. This skip is very frustrating to do in PB attempts. It's not the hardest, but it takes a lot of practice and it's very precise. We're gonna parkour on some very tiny pieces of collision. Yeah, like that. I was slightly too far right. You saw me bounce off of it a little bit there. And that guy might bother us if we take too long. And then I have to jump over to this tiny piece of collision, get a sprint going, and there we go. And that only skips a door opening animation. But it's a really...
That was awesome, though.
But it's a really slow door, so it's like 12 seconds. It's like...
Worth it.
It's like, it's really hard not to do it at record level at this point. But it's annoying to have to do something that specific, like right at the end.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then another aggro chain here. It's going to warp us back up to the top of the castle, and then we're going to go down and kill one more mini-boss at the bottom. Then warp one more time, and then we're done with quit out warps. I love this section of the run, honestly, though. Even though, like, that skip is really cool, even though it's frustrating. Sometimes. Down here. But, like, yeah, this movement and stuff is so cool. So here's Ogre 2. We have to deal with these adds. I want to try and hit them with full damage Mortal Blade as much as I can. There we go. Because otherwise they can interfere with you when you're trying to do the last phase of the fight. And then this is just 3 Mortal Blades. And then a very slight delay before I try to Death Blow after the last Mortal Blade.
Nicely done.
Yeah, so the thing that's hard about that fight is that the adds have a random pattern. And if you just clip one of them without killing them, then they'll aggro on you immediately, and they can just, like, immediately punish you while you're still in the end lag from Mortal Blade.
They just interrupt your combos
They
and
just
stuff.
kill you. They, like, literally, they tap you once you die, because I'm Yasha in base health. Our health bar is supposed to be really big. It is not big, and it is not big. And then this is where I need to get that fast death blow, this one, to have time to finish the fight before that ad gets over here. That's fine. Like in runs, that's annoying, but for marathon setting, I don't care if that guy gets killed first. So that was fine. I got the death blow animations I needed to get. I just got the wrong guy when I had to actually finish the fight.
All right.
Now we got one more guy down here. This is where, again, this is why this run is so dense. And remembering all this. 2. Two more for good measure. Wait for his follow-up.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was playing through the game, like, I remember all of these later sections, but not a lot of, like, what was, I guess, the middle chunk of the run.
Oh yeah, so we're back in the first part of the area, but it's, like, changed. Like, this is the beginning castle, but it's different now.
Yeah.
Like, this is the starter area. Need to kill this guy so he doesn't interrupt me here. And now we have another drunkard fight, but this is Shikikichi. So he has armor on his front, so we need to hit him from behind as much as possible. So we're gonna Yasha up here. Just gonna charge off like that. Dead angle. Jump Firecracker into Mortal Blade in the same jump. Okay, that's good. Very easy RNG. I missed the last hit slightly, apparently. But that's fine, because I just wait for him to finish his attack. And now we're switching to our second and final combat art that we'll use in the run. And so the reason we're dropping Mortal Blade now, finally, is just that we have a lot of apparition enemies left to KO, and Mortal Blade does not do very much damage to apparition type enemies because it's a separate sword than your main sword, which is Kusabi Maru, by the way. Not relevant, but neat. So you don't so you don't get confetti damage on Mortal Draw. But unlike this attack, which we do with our main sword, so we do get confetti damage on it. And specifically, it does about as much damage as 4 R1s in that quick of an attack, so it's pretty good. I'm going to try to bait the grab again here so that I can Dragon Flash, 1 R1, and then Dragon Flash and kill. That's the fastest possible attack you can do out of that, and as you saw, I still had time to kill.
Very nice, gosh. Oh, that's satisfying seeing you kill those ones specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've got more.
Let's go.
Yeah, some of the next strats are like really sick, honestly. We're going to be doing some jumping shurikens and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, this run is so cool. Like, there's so much that came Because like the basic combat is fun, like definitely, but like we found a lot of like Mortal Blade strats and stuff like that, like kind of right as I was getting like kind of tired of like just fighting bosses and stuff normally, because it was like it gets to a point where autopiloting their combos is not terribly difficult. So we shuriken there to bait that long range attack. I didn't quite get close enough there to get full damage on that Dragon Flash, but that's fine. Yeah, so that one's cool. I'm actually not gonna bait a grab this time. I'm just gonna try and finish here. Okay, because I messed up phase 1, I ran out of Yasha there, but that's fine. Just kind of do the fight. But that's the other thing that's kind of funny. I don't know, when people joke about us like mortal blading everything, it's like I do know how to fight stuff. Like I did that for like a long time before I learned all this stuff. So
I mean, honestly, I think it's cool. Like you have to do a lot of these like strange flips and like, you know, using your sword almost like looking like backwards. It's cool.
Oh yeah, so remember I said that Mortal Blade gets extra damage from jumping, most weapon arts don't. This one doesn't either. So if you see me jumping with Dragon Flash, I'm not doing it for damage, I'm just doing it for positioning. So like there, he has, like Drunkards, all of them have a very fast like stomp attack. But if I jump over him as I'm charging the Mortal Blade, I'm not losing time because I'm charging in the air. And he has to flip around before he can do any attack, so he doesn't have time to stomp me. And so that's why I'm doing the jump there. But yeah, I killed the last monkey there, like as I was like getting the death blow on him like midair. Super sick. And then run off here, shuriken, just to cancel him out of that animation. And then you saw how long it took us to kill the first Shichimin versus how long it's taking us to kill this one. It's like literally 2 Mortal Blades. And you get a...
It's like night and day.
Yeah, 2 Dragon Flashes, rather. Dragon Flashes. Strong, and our attack power is way higher now. And most of the Shichimin are pretty close in level. We just have one more Shichimin and we're done.
Cruising right along with this run.
Yeah, I knew if I had difficulty, it would be in early game. And then, like, one, because there's a lot of newer stuff in early game, but also just because early game is just a pain in this run.
Yeah.
And so I have to do some specific maneuvering here, because this is the only Shichimin that for some reason you can aerial death blow like this, but only if you cancel him out of a specific animation. So I run out there to load him and then run back in to deload him a very specific way, so that he is in that animation instead of his normal one, and I can actually... Whoops. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I missed slightly. That's okay. It's fine, I can play this safe. Okay. I accidentally buffered too many kicks. And it's time. Now is time.
Oh, GG. Oh, right, because you said we're not going back to the credits screen, so here we are, freely running around. Well, awesome, Spacey. Like, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and showing off Sekiro for us. That was honestly incredible. I know I said it a million times, but very, very cool run. Do you have any like shout outs, comments you'd like to leave our viewers with before we head over to the next game?
Yeah, so what I do want to talk about really quick is that you know, we used to be like the Souls family used to be located at Speed Souls. There was some stuff that happened that I'm not going to get into, but it forced us right before our big charity marathon that we just had to start completely fresh from a new channel. So we're now under the Souls Speedrun name, Souls Speedruns. If Peanut's in chat, he could maybe send the link like to Richard or something to shout it out. But if you could go, like, we started our charity marathon with only like 200 followers or something, and then we got up a lot during the event, which is good. We had a good event, but like, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, please help get, you know, our community back to where we were, essentially, because we have like lots of events and stuff too. So that would be my request. Rather than following me, go please help get our community back on its feet. And then the only other thing I would say is that I'm really happy that Superliminal is up soon, because I love that game casually. I've seen a few speedruns, and it gets as crazy as you would imagine it would get from playing it casually. So I'm definitely gonna be sticking around for that. Really excited for that.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you, Spacey, for saying that and for clarifying as well. I encourage all of you to follow Soul Speedruns here on Twitch. And I know you're being, modest, but please follow Spacey L1 as well if you enjoyed the run tonight. And that was all really great information as well. Thank you, Spacey. Before we break, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our supporters. Your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered here on the GDQ Twitch channel do help to support the Games Done Quick Hotfix with programming, including this show, Time Capsule. So please consider subscribing if you do enjoy our daily Hotfix shows. And if you are curious about any of our other Hotfix shows aside from Time Capsule, be sure to check out the stream VODs on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/gamesdonequick. As Spacey said, we will be right back with Superliminal, so stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. I'm your host, Smooth Operative, and you are watching Time Capsule. We are hot on games from 2019 tonight, and we are about to get into a very, very curious game from that time period. And here to run Superliminal for you, please welcome Osborne. Hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Osborne. What you just saw was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which I believe was the game of the year for 2019. And now we're going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum with two indie games that you might never have heard of before. And so this is Superliminal. It is a first-person puzzle platformer game. It is, as much as I have been dabbling in other games, I still like to define this as my main speed game. It's the community that I've spent the most time and effort towards in my entire time speedrunning. And I still hold the whole community near and dear to my heart. And speaking of community, we actually have one other community member here for commentary, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Sapphire. I've been running this game for far too long. That's about it. I have world record in this category that you're about to see today, and have for 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she's absolutely great at this category.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being here.
Of course. If you pay attention to GDQ events in the past, you would know that I ran this at a GDQ 2023. And Sapphire ran this at Frost Fatales 2023. And so we have quite the experience under our belt when it comes to this game. And I'm so glad to be showing every opportunity that I get to show this category off is absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to bring it here on Hotfix as well. The first thing that we're going to be doing, this is all collectibles, which means it's pretty much the 100% category of this game, or at least of the main game. There's other modes, but we're just going to be focusing on the main campaign or main story mode for now. We're going to reset achievements and tracked items. The items that we're going to get are chest pieces, constellations, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and blueprints. All of those sound really weird out of context, but it'll make more sense when we get into the game. Timing does not begin when we enter the first level, but rather it begins when we walk through the first door, where we're going to sign the terms of service for good luck. You always have to sign the terms of service for good luck at any marathon run. So, of course, and we're also going to, I forgot to do one thing here in the menu, actually. We're going to turn on the speedrun timer, because that allows us to see in-game time that takes out loads, and specific other things that we'll get into. That's all, and time will begin once I walk through this first door in 3, 2, 1, go. So, thank you. In Superliminal, perception is reality. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means that we can manipulate objects to be as big or as small as we want them to be or perceive them to be. And that allows us to physically manipulate objects and do really wacky glitches like this. That is an out of bounds. Yeah, right? It's just in the first 15 seconds, you just do a major glitch like that. And so
no messing around,
right,
just
straight to the point. And so that's the glory of this being a glitch category. And so what I just did there was an out of bounds launch. The game This game, its relationship with props is very weird. It doesn't like it when you and another object are taking up the same space. So I essentially just made that object so big that when I jumped, the game will do one of two things. It will either get rid of you or it will get rid of the object that you're sharing the space with. Usually whichever's smaller, and in that case I was smaller. And so it launched me upwards and out of bounds, and it gave me a whole lot of momentum. And usually the momentum that you have is FPS based, which is why I am playing on a 60 FPS cap right now. Sapphire, what else is there to say about induction, this first level?
This is surprisingly one of the least glitchy levels. Most of it is that one trick and then just playing the level as intended almost until the very end, until we do this little maneuver. That little wall is scripted to kind of half fall over as like a hint to the puzzle. But when objects are moving in this game, you can just kind of push them. So we skip the whole puzzle, knock over the wall, have a great time, and go grab this blueprint.
Yeah.
Ignore him jumping on air.
Yeah.
There's just a tiny little ledge there that you can jump off for fun.
Yeah, just some like invisible level geometry that you can just jump on there. It's really useful. It's really convenient. And
very handy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a running theme in this game.
It really is. Just very convenient things being laid out for us throughout this entire run. So in this first section of optical, which is the name of this level that we're in, all about optical illusions. It's probably the best example as to what usually is the most time loss in anyone's run, which is all of these minor collectibles, the fire alarms and the fire extinguishers. We call them minor collectibles just because they're so frequent, and you don't usually have to go out of your way to get any of them. And that's because like just being able to move your mouse and keep your momentum going while collecting all these collectibles is really difficult. And it's just small time losses that add up repeatedly throughout the run. We just did a little bit of a vault there instead of getting out of here the normal way to get that blueprint. And now that we're done with that initial section, I'm going to be doing a few interesting things here. First and foremost, we're going to collect a few more things right here. In this room, there's a painting, and if you look at the painting the exact right way, it turns into a real object, in this case, this block, this checkered block. And right here is the first example of a skip that would usually be done in like the glitches category. That's mostly known for that. A mechanic that devs do know about called box jumping, where you essentially just jump and then make the object bigger underneath you. But the devs decided to like not base any puzzles off of that mechanic because they thought it'd be like too complicated for the casual player to understand. Sapphire, what's this glitch I'm about to do right here?
Right, so this is our second type of launch. We explained the first one as making it so big that like it has to push you out. This is that, but extreme. If you rotate an object into you, it makes it several times larger than the entire level, which means when you let go, it tosses you upwards and then is thankfully immediately deleted by like the safeguard triggers against objects going out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there wasn't an object delete trigger, you would just keep going up.
Yeah, you would.
Which I find quite amusing.
It is, and in one level there actually isn't that delete trigger. In Labyrinth, I don't think there is one because you just keep going up forever. But thankfully, there's a trigger underneath the level that if anything gets there, it just immediately gets deleted and put back to where it was. Right here, we're going to be doing some more...
Yes, very luckily, the level that doesn't have an object delete trigger is also the one that we don't need to do a walk launch in.
Exactly. Right here, we're going to be doing...
Again, convenient.
We're going to be doing a similar launch that we did at the beginning of the game with that green chess piece to get up here with this little knight here, all the different chess pieces. I'm not a chess expert, so I will forget the name of at least one of the pieces that we're supposed to get, or just confuse them. But now it's a little relaxation time before we have to get into the real wonderful ending that is optical, where we have to do something with the moon, and I'll let Sapphire explain it since I have to do a small trick here that I want to focus on.
Yeah, so to start with, we grab the moon. I think that's all I need to say about that. But yes, we're going to take a few objects from it. We're going to grab the exit door that is sitting on top of it, and then we're going to grab this soda can, because we need some objects from up on top of this little area that we're currently in, which means we need to go up fast, and I think by now you've figured out the fastest way to go up fast.
Yeah. This one has to be like really straight and also really flat for it to work properly, like that.
Yeah.
And
It's quite finicky.
it is. And this one, the where you can put this down on this rooftop is really weird. But we're gonna get this last blueprint
Yeah.
and then finish the level. Every single level is gonna end in like this hallway sequence, for the most part.
I thought the soda can was like yelling at
Shout out
me.
to
Smooth.
Awesome Waz.
Oh yeah, you saw that? Soda and this. It's nice. All the soda cans have a little gimmick. There's also a mini soda, which is like this big.
Oh, okay.
There's also a secret bonus soda that has like a 1 in 10 chance of spawning every time you hit the random soda button on the vending machine. And if that happens during a run, your run is just blessed through the whole thing.
I'm praying for Labyrinth bonus soda.
Hopefully.
It's happened in like 3 of my world records. Surely it'll show up for GDQ.
Shortly.
Oh, this is a serious question, but if you collect all the sodas, do you get an achievement?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay, let's go.
Oh wait, no.
Bonus soda not included.
Bonus soda not included. It's not included in that achievement.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's a special.
Yes, exactly.
Special one.
What we just saw there
secret soda.
was a constellation with a mug, and we didn't really explain the constellation rooms. Literally, all you have to do is wait for the mug to like pretty much appear like it's a solid object and then disappear, and that's how you know you've collected it. This next level is called Cubism. Ironically, the only normal cube in the run is in this room, and we skip using it entirely like this. And then every single cube in this level from here on out is going to be like a weird cube. There's a chess piece in that vent. I don't know how you're supposed to get it casually, but the game just kind of lets you grab it through the vent. There's not really any collision there. I don't know why. But Sapphire, I'm going to do convenient, exactly. But Sapphire, I'm going to do an interesting trick here. What exactly is this that I'm about to do?
Okay, so in this game, there's a little ledge grab animation.
Yeah.
Sorry, so
No
that,
worries.
that is a vault clip. If you do a ledge clip, a ledge grab into a wall, it just kind of sends you through the wall. I don't know why. I think it just kind of defaults to the ledge grab is more important than wall collision.
Yeah, it's
But
it's one of
yes.
those animations that doesn't check for collision until the animation is done, and so you can just clip through anything theoretically if you have a ledge grab.
Yeah.
So
Once again, something convenient.
yeah, very convenient.
It's the motto of this run.
Yeah,
So it clips you. It clips
It
you
just
upward.
kind of works.
yeah, it clips you upwards through any object.
Well, it clips you
Okay.
forwards mostly.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not big enough to do another warp launch. So just to give you an idea of how big a warp launch actually is, there were objects on the floor here, and when I performed that warp launch, they immediately all disappeared. And if you
Every object in the level gets instantaneously like removed from the level.
yeah, exactly. And
Kind of funny.
you probably don't realize how big of a issue that is until we get to the next level, because we're going to have another really cool example of a warp launch that will show you exactly how big the objects you like warp launch with actually become. And so now we're going to go into Blackout, but before we go into Blackout, we have a little bit of constellation. If anyone can guess what this constellation is, you get 5 stars. See, you can align yourself up here. If you guessed cheese, you got 5 stars. You got 5
I
points.
was like the cheese constellation. Oh, okay.
Of course. Naturally. What did you think it'd be? Of
Of course, yes. What was I thinking?
course. I made the poor choice there of resetting checkpoint instead of resetting level, because for some reason resetting checkpoint puts you like to the left of the bed instead of at the foot of the bed, and so your movement is just a little weird. And then speaking of movement that's weird, this hallway has a bunch of fire extinguishers in it, and Sapphire is significantly better at making this movement not awkward than I am, because it's just really weird for me to like keep the momentum going while activating all of these fire extinguishers to collect. Oh, and then the lights turn off, and then it just becomes inconvenient. I will say a bit of a flashing
I'm
lights.
not going to talk about how long it took me to get good at
Right? It's so awkward. A little bit of flashing lights warning. It'll
It's
only
fine.
last like a second or two here. There we go. Perfect. But now we're going to be doing a unique glitch here. The glitch that we haven't seen before, but it's actually really easy to perform like accidentally in your casual playthrough, where you can just do that. You can just push objects through barriers. Similarly to like the object barriers, the barriers in Portal where you can't like bring objects through. There are object barriers here, but you can just like push them through the barriers like that with your own like character's model. And it's just really easy to do. I've seen one person play it casually, and they thought that was the solution to the level. It's not. It's just really easy to perform. But we're bringing this canister for a pretty specific reason. And Sapphire, what is that reason?
We're doing another warp launch.
Woohoo!
Part 3. But yes, this one, we're just like kind of cutting a corner. That's it.
Oh, I got the good launch. I didn't get the
but
really high launch. Thank goodness.
That is excellent. That launch has like, I don't know, like a 1 in 3 chance of just sending you up really high, and then you have to wait like 10-20 seconds to fall down.
It's so much time loss.
It's absurd. Yeah. Anyways, we do that to get this red light a little early, as well as skipping some parkour. And we're going to use this red light to do another warp launch to grab this chest piece. Fun side effect. We mentioned the object deletion trigger earlier. So the red light itself got deleted, but the like dynamic light source that's attached to it does not.
Yeah.
So now the rest of the level is red.
Yeah, it's called a red out, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
The volumetric
Yeah.
lighting for some reason just doesn't get deleted in any way. But we're gonna peek through those shelves there so we can sign a blueprint, so we don't have to go all the way back here to grab it ourselves. We're gonna turn on the generator with this idea generator, and then we're gonna take a can of beans and we're gonna launch ourselves with the beans, because what else do you do with a can of beans? And we're gonna do a little bit of a
Fun piece of trivia.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the only object in the game that you can do this specific kind of launch with.
Yeah, it's a really weird kind of launch. It's like a jump launch, but not really. It's weird.
We haven't even explained what those are.
We haven't.
They don't really come up very often.
We haven't explained what jump launches are, but we will in this next level because we do see one.
Yes.
But that's Blackout. And from a casual perspective, Blackout is like, it takes the whole perception as reality thing and puts it on its head into like a more metaphorical sense, because it's like the game kind of shifts to like a bit of a horror tone, but it's only as scary as you perceive it to be because you're not in actually any danger. And so there are people who play this game casually who get legitimately scared at that level. And I absolutely love the design of that level. I really do. But now we're in Clone, and as the name implies, we're going to be cloning objects. But ironically, the very first puzzle that you do in Clone does not require you to clone any objects, probably just to set up expectations and then break them in like an instant. There's nothing here. I always forget if there's something there or not. We're going to change channel. I think that's channel 6. A little bit of a break in the music right here. So a convenient thing about the cloning mechanic is that you can clone from any distance, which means that fire alarms are a lot easier to grab because you don't have to walk all the way up to them. You can just keep going. But now we're going to be going into a unique launch, a jump launch that we mentioned earlier in Sapphire. What exactly is that?
Okay, so this is a unique type of launch that you can only really do in this level because for some reason this is the only level in which you can look straight downwards. You just look straight down with an object in your hands and then jump and let go at the same time, and you just go up. I don't know why it works.
I don't know why it works either.
But it does.
Just works.
And it's fantastic, yeah.
I don't know if it's like an oversight or a deliberate decision, but like this is the only level that you can look straight down in the Sapphire Mansion, and I find it to be weird every single time. I just don't know why.
You also look straight down in multiplayer.
Yeah. There's a multiplayer in this game.
It's clone and multiplayer, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Now, are there multiplayer speedruns or?
Not like official ones, but we do ones for fun in the Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
They're a ton of fun because the core premise is that you can grab your like co-op partner.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
So you can just like effectively just put them wherever you want. It is fantastic and extremely slow.
Yes. In this level, you might have seen like the rules of cloning kind of work differently. Some objects, when you clone them, they just drop straight down like this one's. But you also saw in like the green apple room, I was able to pick up objects, and like when I let go and then pick them up again, that's when they clone. It's inconsistent, and it's a bit like it just depends on the puzzle itself. But you know, as speedrunners, that's not really much of a problem since we know what each object does. And now we're going to go into the constellation room of clone. And if you can guess what this constellation is, you get 2 points because it's probably pretty easy to guess. If you guess Dream Soda Vending Machine, the vending machines that we've been seeing throughout the whole game, you get like 2 points. The points don't do anything, by the way. They're completely meaningless, but you know, you get them.
I did not get that one, I will admit.
Unfortunately. Oh, look at that! That fire alarm is already pulled. What happened there? Are we cheating? No, we're not.
I was gonna say we should explain the mystery.
Yeah, the mystery. So there are like 3.
You may have noticed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can probably explain it better than I can.
There's like There's about 4 fire alarms in this level that Osmond completely skips pressing. You would have noticed him doing one earlier if you're very observant.
Oh my god, I went to the right instead of
reason-
back. I do that mistake all the time.
The classic. But yeah, in a later update, the devs added more fire alarms to clone, and for some reason, these new fire alarms are like, I don't know, quantum entangled to the old fire alarms. So if you pull one fire alarm, the corresponding fire alarm will also be pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's also kind of.
But again, it saves time.
It saves time, and it's also a little convenient because it's like it's the fire alarms that are like the ones that you have to go the most out of your way to get, that are like pulled automatically, which is great for us. But now
there's one in that massive like green apple.
Oh yeah,
red apple.
There's 2. There's 2 in there. I think
we just don't.
It's just so.
Yeah, no, you might be right.
Yeah, it's just so convenient. But here, this is Dollhouse, and we're introduced to a new mechanic. We're actually going to be resizing the portals that we go through, or like the doors that we go through, and in effect, we're also resizing ourselves. In the glitchless category, it's actually a really frustrating level because it's so easy to mess up stuff. In this category, it's still frustrating, and it's still like you still experience all the same kind of issues, but less so because you're also focusing on collectibles, so it's not like a time loss isn't as detrimental. So right here, we're going to be resizing, and when you see like these like hallways right here, they're resizing you back to size 1. And so like if you use the practice mod in this game, which this game does have a practice mod, we do have stats in like the top right corner that shows like your size, and so you can easily see that every time you go through a portal that's like really big, you get really, really small, or like when you go through a portal that's really small, you get really, really big. Right here, we're going to be playing Jenga the totally intended way, by using a giant fan to knock down the pieces. And
I think that means you win.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. We're going to be resizing this window right here. As you can see, we're really small, and therefore we rock really slow, which is the risk-reward relationship in this level. This is a strat that I found right here where you can just walk in and out of that door to resize yourself back to size 1, and therefore everything in the room becomes smaller, and so you can just have less travel distance. And before I let Sapphire begin speaking, I'm also going to explain here. We can grab this bouncy castle because there's a little bit of a blueprint right here. And then we're going to use this bouncy castle just to do this part of the level normally. But there is a nice glitch that's going to come up after this bouncy castle segment that I would like Sapphire to explain if she could.
Okay, so coming up, we have a room in which we are given 2 portals that we can freely move about. And the intended way to solve this puzzle is to like get out of a box using those 2 portals. We're not going to do that. We're instead going to use a little trick where if you're holding an object and then you look straight up and jump into a ceiling, you can clip that object like up, as it were.
Like this?
As you'll see here. Yeah. So now he is above the level and quite large. It's hard to tell because this room is also massive, but he is very big right
Yeah,
now.
that room is huge. Like I'm not at size 1 there. Like it looks like I'm at size 1 because the rest of the room is normal in comparison to me. But that room is in like the overall level geometry is huge. I'm just also really huge, and so
Yeah.
that's a nice thing at the end there. It's a lot faster than the intended way, where you have to like I don't know travel throughout the whole room when you're really small and try to find the blueprint. It's wild. But now we're going to go into Labyrinth. And Labyrinth, immediately right off the bat, there's a nice strat here in Labyrinth where it looks like I'm doing like meaningless parkour. Oh, look. Well, at that point, it is meaningless. So what we're going to be doing here is I'm not going to go for the backup here. I know it's technically faster, but I don't trust myself to not lose time over it. And so we're going to take these soda cans and we're going to make a bit of a platform for ourselves so we can climb onto this speaker right here. Excuse me, a bit closer. This speaker right here, and then we're gonna jump. And what I'm doing is essentially like I'm physically jumping over an audio trigger. This hallway is lined with 5 audio triggers throughout the whole hallway. And if you manage to jump over, you can manage to jump over 2 of them. We did fail the first one, but we managed to do the second one successfully. And you want to get to the final audio trigger as fast as possible because then it'll teleport you to the rest of the level. And so just being able to skip 2 of them will just, because they're in like a queue, and so the less lines in the queue, the faster it'll get to the last line. It's very convenient also because that is something that only happened in like an update, because in the original version of the game it would be 1 audio trigger that would play all 5 lines, just a continuous audio trigger, but the devs saw that people were waiting for the audio to end before they would actually like look at the rest of the hallway, and so they would like leave before they could reach the end of the hallway, and so they just like separated all of them into 5 different lines, which is great for us. Here's a frame perfect trick. Oh, of course it's not. Now the joke has lost its power since I messed up that trick. But shout out to Hippie because we went perfectly through a frame.
Shows how precise it is.
Nice. But the rest of Labyrinth is kind of like a level that is supposed to subvert your expectations at all costs, including here, where we just fall down this hallway and change gravity here. There is a trick here that I'm hoping I get first try because I hate doing the backup. Oh! Yes! Oh, thank goodness.
Well, it's that easy.
That was... I held my breath there. But yeah, once you're able to like just have that door just launch you upwards like that. But yeah, Sapphire, what...
It's another completely unique launch.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do that with anything else.
You can't.
In the game.
You really can't.
It's pretty cool.
It's wild. But Sapphire, what else is there to say about Labyrinth or anything that's going to be coming up?
Okay, so Labyrinth is cool. It's my favorite level. That's all I have to say. No, so a lot of this is going to be glitchless movement. This level is designed to be confusing at best.
I let muscle memory take over there.
But yes, we have a couple more small tricks before the end of the level. Mostly a jump that I'm very interested to see if Oz manages to get. Because I swear he's better at it than I am.
Yeah. This specific hallway puzzle is the hardest one in the game because there's not a lot of direction as to what you're supposed to do. Essentially, there's this sign here. Look the opposite direction of the sign, and then because whatever way you look first is going to have a like stop, do not enter, and then you want the sign to be pointing the direction that the door is in. And so whichever way you go second is where the sign should be pointing. We're going to do this launch here.
This is launch type.
Oh no, we didn't get it. Unfortunate.
That's the jump I was talking about.
Yeah.
I can't get it ever.
It's like it has to be like a coyote jump kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Oh my goodness. So yeah.
Yeah, slide launches. You unlock an object's physics and then you push it into a wall, and then it pushes you out. They are probably the most inconsistent type of launch, and he's going to try another one.
There we go. Perfect. That went a lot better than in my GDQ run, where the like a GDQ run where the chess piece went into the wall, and I had a that's never happened before moment, because that's a legit never happened before in my run. But now we're going to be going and getting a constellation. If you can guess what this constellation is, you get 1,000,000 points.
Oh, the pressure is on.
Because I promise you won't be able to get it. There we go. Did you guess moon projector?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. This is an object that is literally nowhere in the game, but it's just there because I guess the moon is fake in optical, and that's where I don't know where the logic is behind that one, but it's there. Yeah. But Sapphire, you want to explain the rest of Labyrinth here?
Yeah, so the rest of Labyrinth is usual glitchless nonsense. This level, like I said, is designed to be quite confusing. It teleports you around a lot. You have to deal with a lot of puzzles that are just kind of like tossed at you. Like coming up here, they're just gonna stick you in a maze. Thankfully, we know the solution to the maze, so it's not that big of a deal.
I almost forgot about the solution.
Excellent.
I almost did. Yeah.
Yes, and then we're in a big parking lot that is, spoiler alert, not real. And in order to leave the level, we have to make all 4 of these walls reveal themselves as fake, I suppose. And then house appears.
Yes.
You're not usually supposed to see it appear because you're usually like facing the walls.
Yeah.
But
thankfully, you don't have to be facing them in order for them to activate. So that's a convenient thing about there. And there's one last blueprint on there.
All right. White space time.
White space, and I'm also gonna let you explain this because it's a lot of stuff to worry about.
Yes. So in this level, you start off with a little clinic that you can see him resizing that is the room you're currently in. And as a result, you can just kind of resize yourself at will by going out the front door, because you'll come out the front door of the object. Anyways, we get to ignore the actual puzzle here, because this room is made of Swiss cheese. There's holes in it everywhere.
There is. One hole is right here.
And then, exactly, we just put the clinic through the holes, as it were, and then we end up elsewhere in the level. This level, just geometrically is kind of massive, which means we have a lot of wiggle room to just kind of go wherever we want, almost.
True. Yeah.
We clip the clinic out of that little room 3 separate times in this, maybe 4 if... No, hold on, that's not how it works. 3 if Oz is feeling adventurous.
Yeah, I might do the last thing for fun. And so reset level. And so an interesting thing about that mechanic is that essentially we're making the object really big, and therefore us really small. Oh wait, I messed up a movement here. I'm getting my movements confused because we do this a million times. And so we want to bring this clinic, we're going to put it here so that we can walk out the other end and grab this chess piece that's underneath the sewing machine. And then we're going to clip this out, but this time we're going to have it face this way. So this is the last room, or one of the last rooms of the level. And we're going to resize this guy to be really small, the clinic to be really small. There it is, I found it. We're going to grab this blueprint. That's the last blueprint of the run. Grab the clinic, come over here, and usually in the beginning sequence, there's supposed to be a paradox where you put the clinic into itself, and in order to prevent a soft lock, the developers make it so that when you put the clinic into itself, you go back to size 1. And the good thing about that is that the game actually doesn't check which portal you put the clinic through. So when you saw me like put the clinic through that portal right there in this level, I went back to size 1, and that was it. And so I can finally, get this final constellation, which if you guessed piano, you get like 20 points because you probably could have deciphered that based on the piano that we saw in like Jungle's Bistro. But that's the last constellation. And now I'm going to try a trick that has never been attempted in a marathon run before. And hopefully we get it. I'm only going to try once.
About this trick about half an hour ago.
Yeah, I learned this trick very recently. We're only going to try it once, though. So we'll see if we can get it. I'm not totally sure what the size of this is supposed to be, so I'm just going to eyeball it and say that that's right. But we're essentially just going to lodge ourselves in this sign back here. I'm going to go back, and as soon as we get launched upwards, I'm going to just move to the far back and left and put the clinic right here through the hole in the wall. And will this work?
Pray chat.
Nah.
Aw.
Did not work, unfortunately.
That doesn't look like it worked.
Oh wait, I saw
That's
I saw the black geometry. So
something.
what I was
Yeah.
what I was supposed to do there is essentially I was supposed to put the clinic out of bounds in a way where if I exited the clinic, it would have put me right next to the loading trigger that leads me to like the end of the game. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. It is the fastest way and also easier than the previous fastest way, so I was really excited about it. But it's also a little precise, and so I was only going to attempt it once. And if we didn't get it, we move on. But instead, we're going to do it in the longer but more poetic way of doing a out-of-bounds launch with the chess piece just as we started the run. And now I'm going to just fall down here, and as soon as we end the fall, there's going to be a loading screen, and then at the other side of the loading screen will be time. And essentially where the clinic was supposed to put you was like right here, and you could just fall into the loading trigger. But yeah, that is pretty much...
So
Wait, go ahead.
Did Sapphire teach you that like 30 minutes ago for real, or?
No, like literally during the setup of this run.
I've also never done the trick, but
What?
I did show it to him, yes.
Oh, okay. Gosh, that's
didn't know
wild.
about it.
Yeah. So 3,
Yeah.
2, 1, time.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I knew this was going to be an interesting run, but it was absolutely mind-bending. Like,
Yeah.
breezed through that so quickly. Very well done, Osborne. Do you have any shout-outs, comments, anything you'd like to say to our viewers before we head over to the next game?
Well, the very first thing that we need to do, actually, before I do any of that, is we need to check and see if this is a valid run.
Right.
So the menu
Okay.
screen is going to show us all the collectibles we got and everything. No, we missed a fire extinguisher and blackout. Oh, and we missed a fire alarm and labyrinth. There must have been like one of each. That's so disappointing. Unfortunately, this isn't a valid run. This isn't all collectibles. This is all except 2. In any other circumstance, I would be like, let's go back and find them. But we have other things to do tonight. So, and
it's no worry.
it's no worries. But yeah. And also, if you get like all the fire alarms, there's like you can walk around in the menu screen, and in this area is all of the things that were constellations, including the moon projector and stuff like that. And you also get a reward for getting all the chess pieces, which is this guy right here.
Ooh,
You can see.
shiny.
Yes. Yeah. There are other awards for getting other things, but we're not gonna wander on meddle on that too much. But I've been Osborne. If you're gonna head out for the day, you can follow me on twitch.tv/Osborne. I stream occasionally, and I am pretty active on Twitter. Osborne on all social medias. So yeah, that's all for this run. I do have another run coming up after the intermission, and I just want to thank Sapphire for being here. As always, she is the queen of this category, and maybe one day I'll be as good as her at this game, but today is not that day. So yeah, is there anything you want to say, Sapphire, before we head on?
I think more people should run Ulci. It's fun, and
It is.
that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone plays glitchless instead, and I'm so sad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Thank you to Osborne for consistently showing off this run as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you both for joining us. And it is nice to hear that if someone did want to run this category, it sounds like Sapphire, you'd be ready to help at a moment's notice.
We have a whole YouTube tutorial series.
Ooh,
come
okay.
join me.
Yes. Yes, play it. It's a good
Just the
category.
same
I know
ways.
that glitchless is more beginner friendly, and I would recommend it as your first category, but at some point, please go play all collectibles too. Yeah. But yeah, that's all from me. I'll be back in like 8 minutes for another run.
Awesome. Well, I mentioned it in the chat, but if those of you watching did enjoy the run, make sure you follow our runner Osmorn, as well as commentary Sapphire Liminal. And thank you both for being here for that run. We are going to take a quick break. We will return again with Osmorn and some new friends for a speedrun of Manifold Garden. So stick around. From 2019, we are all set up for Manifold Garden. So Osmorn, why don't you take it away?
Thank you so much, Tibby. All right. Hello, everyone, again. My name is Osmorn. I just did a run of Superliminal, and we're going to be doing a run of Manifold Garden. These are two games that kind of go hand in hand. The devs worked really closely with each other when developing their own games. And so I absolutely love this. They're both first-person puzzle platformers. Superliminal was wild, but also a little bit digestible because you can kind of figure out what everything's going on. This game, not so much. It goes much more into the abstract and has much wonkier mechanics that we're going to be seeing. I have two wonderful community members here, both experts in their own rights at this game. If you could introduce yourself, starting from the top of the voice call down.
Okay, I'm Hat Kirby. I mostly do glitchless Manifold Garden, which is not what this run is going to be, so get ready and excited for that.
Yeah, and I'm Nerd Squared. I actually have a bit of history with this game in GDQ because I ran this at SGQ 2021. Not in reverse order, but still Manifold all the same.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Yes. This was me and Nerd Squared had a kind of like a world record battle for this category in a while. And then I submitted it to AGDQ for this upcoming AGDQ 2024, and I'll be showing it off there too. Thankfully, I'm glad that Tippy was able to show this off here because it gave me more reason to practice.
Definitely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. Before we get into the run, I'm going to explain one thing. I'm going to load up this file right here because I want to explain two major components. Number one, I am going to be entering a command. I already entered it, but just so I can show the audience, called bind screenshot _ normal. It essentially rebinds the F11 key that takes screenshots in this game to my F key right next to the movement. And so you're able to see, I can screenshot right there anywhere. That's going to be pretty useful for a specific glitch known as a wall clip that requires you to create lag by essentially putting a screenshot there. And the second thing that I want to explain is I'm going to exit to my settings here. And in the gameplay settings, you see an option called gravity change motion. The default setting for this is S-curve. And so when you play this game casually, if you've played this game casually before, that is probably what it looks like when you change gravity in this game, where it's a full animation.
Oh, whoa.
And it's a lot easier to digest. But in the speedrun, instead of doing that, there's this thing that's similar to like blinking in VR games, to decrease like motion sickness. Instead of the gravity change motion, we're going to put it back to instant. And that is literally just, as the game describes, an instant change in gravity, which is a lot easier for us in the speedrun and is a lot faster than having to sit through an animation every time you want to change gravity. And so hopefully that helps a little bit, because if I didn't explain that, this game would just look like a bunch of jump cuts. It still will, but hopefully you understand a bit more now.
Yes, thank you for explaining that, actually.
Of course. But yeah, that's pretty much all that there is for the preamble. Timing will begin when I press overwrite here, and fingers crossed that this game is going to be good to us today, because sometimes it can be a bit finicky. So yeah, time will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
Good luck.
Thank you. So as you can see here, Manifold Garden has a gravity changing mechanic. Each like plane of gravity has its own color assigned to it, and anything that is like a specific color can only be interactable if you're on the same plane of gravity as it. Right here, as I explained, we're going to be using our screenshot that we used earlier by doing a glitch known as a wall clip. We're going to be there's two parts to a wall clip: clipping ourselves and then clipping the object through. We clip ourselves literally just by like walking forward and putting down the object. It'll clip us through the wall, and then we clip through the object by interacting with it and then taking a screenshot at the same time. Is that going to work? Will that land perfectly? It did. Thank goodness. That is so satisfying to get each time. So yeah, nerd squared. Why am I endlessly falling?
Yeah, so the whole point of this game is falling. They'll very quickly become apparent, because every single environment in this game, even this interior area that he's in, it loops infinitely. So big thing for going fast in this is falling to go somewhere instead of just running straight there.
There we go. Instead of doing the normal exit here, we're going to be doing a secret exit here, and doing a lot of wall clips here. We could theoretically end the game right now, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to be going to towards the end of the game. Hat Kirby, where exactly am I going right now?
Yeah, so the tower at the beginning of the game, for some reason, just has this little shortcut door that goes to like the secret ending of the game, which then has a shortcut to like the final level. So you're not supposed to actually be able to get there normally. You have to use these wall clips to be able to get through. But yeah, that's how there's that connection just to the last level from so early.
Perfect. And so this is literally the final puzzle of the game. And I forgot to mention exactly what reverse tree order means. Reverse tree order is essentially like there's these things called God cubes in this game, and you plant them to create trees. And so the normal order that you have to collect them in is blue, red, green, yellow, purple, orange, and then rainbow. Instead, we're going to be grabbing rainbow first. And so we're going to be doing some mechanics that we could have been introduced to earlier in the game by changing the direction of these rivers. When you change this one, you want it to be slightly to the left, like so, because that's going to activate a water wheel, and that'll open up. Oh no, I accidentally forgot to do a little. Come on. Yeah, I'm just going to retry that because it's a lot easier this way. Perfect. There we go. So what that animation is supposed to do is open up this dark cube, but that animation is really long, so it actually saves time, even RTA, to just save and load, because that'll make all the props go into like their final state, which allows this to be open and for us to grab the dark cube. And we're going to take this dark cube over to this tree, and this tree has the God cube that we're going to be collecting. But before we do that, we have to wait for this animation and then look at a lot of really pretty colors. Will it do the glitch? It did. Why does it do that?
It did the glitch.
Why did it do that? I hate it when that happens.
What happened?
So-
Is this good luck or bad luck?
This is like one of the most beautiful animations in this game, and sometimes it does this glitch where the camera is off-centered downwards, and I don't know what causes it to happen, but like it just happens sometimes and runs, and it's so disappointing. But it's okay. We're gonna be seeing more pretty animations later.
It only happens if you do the save load as well.
Yeah, it's weird. But sometimes it doesn't happen with the save load, and it's just strange. I don't know what causes it. I don't know how to prevent it from happening every now and again. But it doesn't say or lose any time. It's just disappointing because you don't get to see pretty colors. So typically this would be like the grand finale of an all God cubes run, but it's actually the grand beginning, because as you can see here, we got the rainbow God cube. And typically this is the last one you're supposed to be planting, but instead we're going to be going up a lot of really, really long staircases. It's legitimately like 40-50 seconds of just walking up staircases. And we're going to be planting the God cube right here and planting the tree. Now we could just go end the game, but why would we do that? You know, we have other things to do. Hat Kirby, where are we going now?
Now we're going to, we're going to orange now. So this is the reason why this category is not doable glitchless, because you can't actually get into orange without doing purple glitchless. But since we can use glitches, we are going to go back to the beginning of the game again and take a different shortcut. This game has a lot of shortcuts.
Oh my god, an instant clip. My goodness, that's great.
Fantastic. You love to see it.
Yeah, continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, we're gonna take a different shortcut to around like the 4th level, and we're gonna find this big secret room that has other shortcuts to other places.
My god, the clips are being so cooperating today. I love it. I'm gonna cry. Yes.
I don't have time to explain things if you're gonna play the game so quickly.
Oh my god! I'm gonna cry. This game has never been so cooperative than it has been right now. My goodness.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on what Osmore is saying here, the clips are very random. We don't exactly know why it happens. It's just kind of some weird physics thing with the game. And weirdly enough, saving and loading can make the clips work. It's really strange.
It's strange. But yeah, Hat Kirby, I very rudely interrupted you here with how amazed I was at these clips. Finish with what you're finish with that, please.
Understandable. Yeah, in the room after the... Oh, okay, we're going to go through this door, and there's going to be this big, like this massive room here with this huge wall. The other side of that wall is this area we call the secret hub that you're not supposed to be able to get to until like late in the game. And Osmorn is just going to clip right through that wall so that we can get to... Like, the secret hub has all these shortcuts to specific areas, including the orange level, which is the 6th level.
Okay. Oh my god, it's being so... I'm going to cry.
Get a world record today.
I've never been so happy with this game than I am right now. My goodness. So we're pretty much right at where the like secret entrance for the orange God Cube area is. We're going to be falling down here, and we're going to be grabbing this cube off of this tree, and surprise, surprise, we're going to wall clip with it over here. Sometimes you want to be as like straight as possible because if you're like even a bit tilted to the left or the right, it's going to move you to the left or the right. We're going to put this cube right here, and that'll activate the dark cube at the center of the stage. And then, I don't know what you constitute as the center of the stage. At this point, there's really no center per se. But in this tower, we're actually going to be clipping with this dark cube. The dark cube is a bit finicky because if you let go of the dark cube for too long, it'll go back to its original spawn point, and then you have to just deal with that. And thankfully, the clip with the dark cube was pretty instant, and so we were able to immediately put it into this tree where we're going to grab the orange God cube. And something like, if this loading screen will end, something like this is what we were supposed to see with the rainbow God cube when we put that dark cube into this tree, except everything was like rainbow. But instead we're going to see a bunch of these pretty colors. You can see that there's like purples, blues, and reds because the game thinks you've collected all those cubes at this point, but that's just not the case.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we still have many more to collect. And so now we're going to kind of double back into the areas that we were in. But first and foremost, of course, we need to go plant the God Cube into its tree. Also because this area is going to come in handy, like pretty much towards the end of the run. We're going to come back here, so you might want to remember it. We're going to put the God Cube into its pedestal so we can plant the tree, and we're going to fall backwards and go over here, doubling back in the area that we just came from, back to like the secret shortcut area, because that secret like shortcut area has actually a lot of different shortcuts to a lot of different areas, including this hub where we're going to be finding the purple and yellow God cubes. But first we're going to go get purple. Theoretically, you can go get yellow right now if you wanted to, but to obey like the proper order of how you're supposed to get these cubes, we're going to go do purple first. We're going to do a new glitch here called a save ward. Saving and loading in this game is really weird because if you're in the same room as like when you like if you save in the same room and then load in that same room, the game will like physically pull your like your character back to where you saved, like the location where you saved, while the screen is white. And so if we save on one side of the portal and then load on the other side of the portal, the game will essentially like move our character through the portal, and we'll just end up like saving and loading on the other side. And so you can skip any puzzle by just like warping through a portal instead. And we're also introduced to here some gravity changers. We're going to be introduced using them more later, but it essentially just changes the gravity of any cube to its respective color. And then wall clipping through here. Excuse me. Oh, is this the first one that's going to give me trouble?
Uh-oh.
Nope, never mind.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's okay. We're at a false alarm. And now we're going to be doing something called tree clipping. If Nerd Square could explain that, please.
Yeah, so similar to clipping through walls, you can clip through trees. But trees, as you can see by the stump here, are a little thicker than normal walls.
Oh my
So
god,
you have to
I need
really
to
work at it
load.
to get in. Yep. So now he has to very precisely align his cursor and see how quickly he gets it.
This is really precise. It's like pixels.
Yeah, it's basically pixel perfect. And it also depends on the angle
There
you're
we go.
aiming the cursor. There we go.
Yes.
Nice.
And then we're gonna save to get to the other side of this portal. Essentially, what I like, the reason that was actually really good is because usually, like, you saw that the geometry of the God Cube was like sticking out of the base of the tree. Typically, you would have to save and then load for that to appear. Sometimes with the purple God Cube, it doesn't. You don't need to do that, and thankfully, that didn't happen here. And thankfully, like the game was really kind to me when it came to wall clipping into that tree. And so now we are able to put the purple cube into its pedestal. Oop, come on. Where is it? Where? There we go. Perfect. I lost myself there. And now we're going to exit the purple cube area, back where we came from. Oop, come on. There we go. And we're going to save warp out of here so we can go directly to the main hub and then go to the yellow cube area. I don't know if there's any questions while we just do this transitional part from one area to the next, or anything that.
Yeah, I actually had a question for you, Osborne. So I know that you said the developers were kind of working closely together, or at least friendly with each other during the development of both Superliminal and Manifold Garden. I'm kind of wondering if you happen to notice similarities between the two runs and what those might be.
I mean, like, aside from like the similarities in genre,
Sure.
the most common like similarity between the two is the use of non-Euclidean geometry, which is essentially just like a geometry that like doesn't make sense. You go through a door and it leads to another room, despite the fact that the door is in like the center of one room. Like it's stuff like that, where geometry that like physically isn't possible in the real world, or like portals from one area to the next. It's like just using the use of non-Euclidean geometry is a common theme throughout like this run, Superliminal, and a lot of like other similar runs like this, like Antichamber, which I also happen to run. And so it's stuff like this that's like really my bread and butter when it comes to speedrunning. And so there's a lot of similarities between the two, you know.
So that answers my question, how comfortable you are with this kind of geometry and space. It seems like very.
I run all these types of games and it's beautiful. Excuse me. Here is a dual gravity cube. You can, it essentially has two planes of gravity that can fall on. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Wait, what? Oh, what? Excuse me. I got swindled. I got buffooned. Oh my god.
At least the game didn't eat it.
Right? I was just like, how did I miss it?
we jinxed it earlier.
We did, but it's fine. We can recover. We're gonna take this dual gravity cube, and we're going to be wall clipping with it right through here. We want it actually to be, actually perfect. I think it's going to end up falling where exactly I need it to when we come back. We're going to be clipping through here. And we're going to be taking this cube. We want to take both cubes. So we're going to clip through, I guess this is technically a floor clip more than it is a wall clip here. And so we're going to be wall clipping through here. And Nerd Square, what exactly are we going to do with the rest of this level?
Yep. So if you're at all familiar with this game, you more than likely remember this level. You can see these big Tetris pieces surrounding the arena. You basically have to have them lock into place to provide power for some of these receptacles. But we're just gonna skip a few steps and go right to the end.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of the like saving and loading for this animation to like go faster, this is actually like the one and only time where it's faster for the animation to just let it play out instead of saving and loading. So we're just gonna let it do that. There you go. Taking this dark cube, and we're going to be. This is the last god cube that we're gonna get in like the quote unquote unintended way, and by intended I just mean like via a dark cube. We're not gonna be collecting any more like dark cubes for the rest of the game after this one. We're gonna. Oh, dang! Is this the wall flip that's gonna give me the most trouble today? Okay. When I start complaining about it, it starts cooperating. I think that's the key here. So yeah, that's the yellow cube. Which, if I'm not mistaken, in all God Cube routes, they actually end up like wall clipping through here. Like if you compare the all God Cube and the reverse shorter routes, like we wall clip in different or tree clip in different trees, just because there's like a stark difference in consistency when it comes to certain trees, and so it's just easier to be different in specific routes. But in the all God Cubes route, they clip through this tree, and it's without a doubt the hardest tree to clip into. In my opinion. I don't know if Nerd Squared shares that opinion at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I don't run all God Cubes anymore, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like with where all God Cubes is right now, you have to get every single tree clip first try, and as you saw, they're very hard.
True. I mean, unless you're Hat Kirby, because Hat Kirby does the glitchless run of all God Cubes.
Yeah, I just don't do that, and it's great.
Right?
You're free from the pain.
Like, Hat Kirby gets to keep his sanity, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Anyway, Hat Kirby, where are we going right now?
Now we're going to green. So, there's like this secret route through the game that you can take to beat the game without getting any of the God Cubes. And we're going to use a portion of that route right here to go back to the area where like the second and third levels are, and it involves taking this double gravity cube here into this area that's kind of like, you wouldn't really notice that this is here when you're going into the yellow world, but it's here. So there's like a puzzle in here that you do, except Osborne's not going to do it. And then that takes you to this hub where the green and red levels are.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Now, if you have seen an all God Cubes run, a lot of the movement that I'm about to do like in this part of the run is pretty similar to the all God Cubes run. It's just I just do it in a different order. And so this like tree is in like the first like just few minutes of an all God Cubes run, this room right here with this puzzle. This is one of two puzzles that we solve the intended way. The other one was the room where we brought back like the dual gravity cube, the red and yellow one, or the green and yellow one, because like literally the only reason that we solved that intended was so we can bring the dual gravity cube back. Also, this beautiful room that's probably been a lot of people's screensavers for a while. We're gonna grab this cube and put it over here and do a nice little wonderful movement here. So we can...
Got the RNG room now.
The RNG room, yes. Oh, wait, excuse me. There you go. I have to fall. How could I not show off that strat? Let's see how easy it is for us to get this on here. Oh my goodness. That should work. There we go. I'm already walking. It's too late. That worked. There you go.
Okay.
Beautiful. It was a bit too far forward. I was a bit afraid that it wouldn't work, but it did.
Yeah, for context, we have to get that cube onto a target that's on the floor, but the texture that we're walking on is random, so sometimes you just cannot see the target.
Yeah, it's really weird. I usually get it, like, as long as you have a general idea where it should be, it's fine, but sometimes it's disorienting. But now we're in the area that we're going to get the green God Cube, and I think Nerd Squared can explain a lot of the strats we're going to be doing here.
Yeah, so the intent behind this area is you learn how to use a mechanic with the cubes where you can redirect water. But we're going to fly right to the end here. do another tree clip, and this is another instance with the tree clips of not having to save and load before this one because the God Cube is already there.
Yeah, you don't. Sometimes it's not there, and that's annoying, but this one is, and you, without a doubt, this one is almost always the easiest one to clip into. Will that be the case today? It is. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Come on. It's fine. If you exit, that's just how you know you can do it again. You want to get as far right as possible, and then that's easy. It's literally
Nice.
like that one is the easiest one to do in the game. It's almost always like it's just an instant grab. For some reason, like the range that you have to grab that is a lot bigger than the other ones, and it's a lot easier to clip into that one. It's just so much simpler. So thankfully the game is really cooperative in that front. And then just yeah, go ahead.
And reminder that the God Cube grabs are borderline pixel perfect, and you just got it within a second.
Yeah, they really are. So right here, boom, we're gonna plant this God Cube, and now we're gonna go over to the red cube area. But first, you have to exit here, so we're gonna just walk backwards over on this arch. Oh, come on, let's go. There we go. And then save warp to get out of here. I don't know if there's any more questions that Tibi would like to ask or comments while we do this transitional phase.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Osborne, just kind of in general, like what is the game that got you into speedrunning? I know you said you run games a lot in this kind of puzzle, obscure category. Like, tell us a little bit about your history.
So, ironically, the first game I ever speedran was not a puzzle platformer. It was a game called Luigi's Mansion 3. It was a game that I just couldn't keep up with because the speedrun was really long. And then on AGDQ 2021, I stayed up to watch a run of Pikmin 2. And then a guy named Bobby Burm ran a game called Light Matter right before Pikmin 2. And I couldn't tell you what it was, but I fell in love with that game. I bought it that same week. I played it 3 times and then began speedrunning it before GDQ was even over. And it was just,
wow.
I just loved it. And so that was the game. It's not the game that, technically it's not the game that got me into speedrunning, but it's the game that made me take speedrunning seriously and became much more my style. And it led me to, speedrunning all these other games today. And now I've been
awesome.
I've been thankful enough to have been in a GDQ myself. So it's come a long way. There we go. Goodness, that clip took so long. But anyway, Hat Kirby, what am I doing over here in the red cube area?
Well, this is a very beautiful room that we don't want to spend very much time in. You have to parkour down all these stairs. It's very slow. So just clip out of that wall, clip back in so that you can change gravity. There's this ball puzzle here where you have to change gravity so that this ball falls through a chute. And it's almost like an auto scroller. And then the puzzle for the God Cube is an even bigger, it's a ridiculously long one. And so we don't want to do that. We're gonna tree clip.
Yes.
I mean, I have to do it when I play, but
Of course. The glitched categories in this game are pretty flashy. I really highly recommend checking out the glitch list categories. Hat Kirby does an amazing job at them. They're they're really good runs, and he's a really good runner at those. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, it's so easy for you to let muscle memory take over because you're so used to when you screenshot and then try to clip the cube through that it happens first try, that when it doesn't happen first try, it's so disorienting. And thankfully I was able to catch myself. So let's hope that we can get into the red tree quickly. This one, you have to save and load for the cube to appear. But usually it takes a few tries to save and load again before you can actually successfully clip into the tree. I don't think I've ever had this one where it ends up clipping in first try. Oh, but sometimes that happens where when you save and load, it already puts you inside of the tree. And so you can just look around and then grab it. Boom. That's probably one of the faster ways that's happened before. And now we're gonna save and load. So that is the second to last cube that we're gonna get. That was a fast load. Excuse me. There we go. And after the red cube, we only have one more cube to get, and that's the blue cube. But instead of going backwards to where we just came, like we did with all the other cubes, we're actually gonna go forward here, because like I said earlier, we're going to go back to where the orange cube was. And we're going to go back to that secret entrance area that led us to this part of the game and led us to like the rainbow cube section, because that also leads back to the beginning of the game with the blue cube section. Excuse me. Wait, hold up. Am I like... There we go. Okay, perfect. I was just like, I'm walking the wrong direction here, and it's messing up my muscle memory. We're gonna go through here, and we're gonna fall downwards into this hallway. Remember this guy? This guy right here? Yeah, he's our friend now. He's gonna be a wonderful tool. It's gonna help us later, and later is now. Where we're gonna be grabbing the last cube in the run. And thankfully, he instantly clipped with us, so that's beautiful. We're gonna be opening this door, and we're gonna be grabbing the first God cube of the game right here. So I get Hackerby. It could say some stuff on this God cube if he'd like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is usually a very slow level. It's basically like the tutorial. You have to do these 3 different sections that all like launch all these lasers. But like this is like so undeniably faster just to clip it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fun thing is that after this, we get to go to we get to see the ending of the game.
True. Ooh, this is the tree clip that's going to give us problems today. I knew there was going to be at least one. This is going to be it.
It's always blue.
Oh my god, but it spawned us in the tree again. Oh my god. And come on. I believe in you. There we go. Perfect.
Let's go.
The God Cube like grabs have been pretty fast. I love that for us. And then we're going to load. That's the last save warp of the run. We're just going to save warp through that portal, and we're going to clip the God Cube with us. And that's pretty much it. Now we just have to go beat the game after we plant this God Cube.
The lesson we're learning today is reverse psychology works.
Exactly. We really
reverse
are.
tree order, reverse psychology.
I know.
Makes sense.
It's a
See
beautiful...
where y'all are
like
going with this.
Anyway, did you know that this game has a fast travel system? And we're using it right now. Yeah. This game has a fast travel system where this is like this little diorama with all the different areas you can go to. So we're going to travel directly to Rainbow. That's the end of the game. And all we have to do is, instead of walking up these stairs, we can fall down these stairs. Except for whatever reason, there's like an invisible wall right here in this door. So we have to like, orient ourselves, walk through it, and then we can keep falling. But yeah, there is one last trick, which I do believe they do in the glitches categories as well. What is this trick?
Yeah.
Hat Kirby?
Oh, so there's this runway that you have to go down, but when you get close to it, the game disables your ability to change gravity because they want you to walk all the way down it. But there's a specific sequence of gravity changes you can do right there to get around that trigger, and you just go noom.
Yes. And it helps a lot because like the game, in instant mode at least, the game will teleport you exactly to where you put your crosshair instead of S-curve, which like it will just move it to whatever like wall you put on. So that's nice. So yeah, that's the end of the run. Timing is going to end when we finish this fall and the kaleidoscope appears on screen. It's like a 50-second fall, but it's very dramatic. And so that was a pretty good run. I don't think it was world record pace by any means, but honestly, I think that was sub 30 ? What's the timer at right now?
All right, let's check with Richard.
28:30.
28.
Oh, that's
nice.
beautiful. That's really good, actually. I'm glad that it was and that's 3, 2, 1, time. All right.
GG's.
That's beautiful.
Yay!
Yeah, that was a really good run. I'm incredibly happy with that for a marathon like setting like this, in front of a live audience. And yeah, if that happens at GDQ, I'd have no complaints. And because, like I said, I am running this at main stage GDQ in January, and I'm going to be there in person if you want to see me. And so I highly recommend checking that out. It's on Monday, January 14th at Monday, January 15th at like 10 a.m. And Hat Kirby is going to be there. Nerd Square unfortunately won't, but he'll be on comms remotely. Hat Kirby will be on comms with me on site. So yeah, I'm hoping you enjoyed the run because I love showing off this game. It's one of my favorite speedruns.
Oh my gosh. Manifold Garden was a treat, and especially seeing the game like back to back with Superliminal, just wow, that was really fantastic, and I super appreciate you offering to run this game for us on the show tonight as well. Really cool.
Of course.
Yeah. And while we're at it with Manifold Garden and GDQ, I want to give personal shout out to Forb. She was my partner in crime when I first got into this game and with my marathon runs back in 2021, including SGDQ. Shoutouts to her.
Nice.
Great, yes.
What about you, Kirby? Any shout outs?
I don't know.
No, it's all good. Osborne,
Shoutouts
why
to my
not?
friend Indalvin, who has run Manifold Garden glitchless with me, I guess.
Aw. It's great to have a buddy when you are speedrunning a game, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Osborne, do you wanna say your final goodbyes and we'll wrap it up tonight?
Yes. I love the games that I run, and I have a soft spot for each and every one of them. This has been definitely one of the runs that I have the most fixation towards and obsession with, because it's like such an intense run and it's really good. And if you're into cool glitch categories that like play the game in a completely different way than like even a normal speedrun would, I highly recommend getting into this run. If all of the glitches that I did are a bit intimidating for you, maybe go with Hat Kirby's route and do the glitchless runs for the game. All God Keeps Glitchless is great. And so...
Yeah, don't let the word glitchless distract you. There's a lot of cool tricks in it.
It is. Yeah, for sure. There is still a lot of cool tricks. And so I'm hoping you're enjoying this beautiful animation here at the end as we finish up here.
I am.
But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much to y'all for watching. Thank you to Nerd Square and Hat Kirby for being here. And shout outs to William Schur for making an amazing game, and for everyone else in the Manifold Garden speedrunning community. And thank you so much. Last but not least, thank you so much to Tippy for having me on her show. It means the world. It really does.
Of course. I had a blast with you, Osborne, and had Kirby Nerd Squared as well as Sapphire and Spacey. Tonight was a great episode. I had a lot of fun, but unfortunately, friends, the fun must come to an end. So that is going to be a wrap for our episode of Time Capsule tonight. If you are watching this on YouTube from the future and you had a good time with us, be sure to press the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, if you're interested in catching our shows live, you can always find us at twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick. I've also included a link to everyone's Twitch that has been joining us for Manifold Garden, so please follow Osborne, Nerd Squared, and Hat Kirby if you are inclined to do so. I did. So yeah, I've been your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you all very much for watching. You can tune into Hotfix tomorrow for Mercy Kill, followed by Passion Project. That all starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.